Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Utah, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Kind of a sad day. The realization that the holidays are over. It's time to get back to reality.
Depends on who you are about being sad, though. There's a lot of people who are excited, a.k.a. my wife. She is screwed. She's just like, yes, the Christmas tree came down like hours before midnight.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, she's the worst.
She's done. All right.
So depending on who you are, some people are happy it's over.
Okay. But the thing about it being over is it's back to the grind. It's back to normal.
Let's do it.
But we're excited to be here today because, my goodness, there's a lot going on. Just in the 48 hours since I was last on the air, my goodness, so much has happened. There's so much going on. And I'm sure a lot of you listening are up to speed on the coaching changes that took place. The coordinators that have left both BYU and Utah and are headed to Michigan and some other news. Let me quickly get you caught up on some transfer portal news. Of course, John Henry Daly made his announcement earlier this week that he's going into the transfer portal. Also joining him in the transfer portal on the Utah side of things is Smith Snowden and Teo Johnson. So 2 starting defensive backs. That's 3 defensive starters for Utah in the transfer portal. On the BYU side of things, this is good news for Cougar fans. Faletau Satawala, he's rolling it back. He's all in, according to his social media. Trey Alexander, back. Parker Kingston, back. Nusi Tamoipenu, back. So BYU, after Jay Hill leaves for Michigan, is retaining some of their top talent. Change is going to happen. Players are going to move around. But so far, it's not as much on this Friday where the transfer portal opened that we thought we would see. Of course, Jason Beck, Lewis Powell, Freddie Whittingham Jr., Micah Simon, Jim Harding, and Coy Detmer Jr. all headed to Michigan with Kyle Whittingham. Jay Hill from BYU is the only assistant as of right now that we know is leaving BYU. Gary Anderson joined Hanson Scotty in the last hour and confirmed he's staying at BYU. So good news for BYU fans. There's some continuity on the defensive side of the ball. Sly, it's a day where it's good you're here because so much has happened over the last 48 hours.
Right.
Utah won a bowl game, and that's that last on the list of things to talk about, unfortunately, because there's just so much other things going on that are going to impact the future of this program. Eric Weddle joined Hanson Scotty just a moment ago. It's good to hear from former players who are tied in and are dialed in and know what's going on behind the scenes. Now, you can't come on the radio and say everything you know, just so people listening know that, but you can share a lot of things today that I think fans need to hear right now at Utah. And I think they'll appreciate hearing from somebody who understands the program and knows what's going on behind the scenes. So there's a lot to get to today as it pertains to these coaches that are leaving, some coaches that may be coming in, some coaches that are staying, some players that are leaving, some players that are staying. There's a lot going on right now, as we expected. I warned you before we left you, before the New Year's, when we come back, there's going to be a lot going on. Everything's going to go crazy after New Year's once the seasons officially end at both Michigan and Utah. And that's exactly what has happened. So it's a good thing Sly's here today. Sly Sylvester in for Alex Kirry to discuss a lot of this stuff that's going on both at Utah and BYU. Let's get to it. We got no time to waste. It's the cut at 3 o'clock.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The cut's brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Give Trajan Wealth a call today, your local financial fiduciary. 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. All right, let's start with the coaching changes, Sly. We heard the rumors and the rumblings since last Friday when Kyle Whittingham was hired as the head coach at Michigan. It just makes sense that he would try to hire as many people he knows and trusts that he's worked with over the years, either in the past or in the present. And that's exactly what happened.
Right.
Did anything that went down in the last week surprise you after Kyle Whittingham left for Michigan?
No. Honestly, more of the transfer portal guys from Utah that here's the thing is, like, as you said, guys that you trust or whatever, guys who you think are such and such guys or whatever. At the end of the day, I think people need to understand that this is now business, right? I believe college football, what it was before, was built on more morals, more emotion, more things made decisions. This is strictly business decisions on everything that is made, right? From the coaching staffs to the players getting into transfer portals and making money and all of that. This is strictly business, which means zero emotions are a part of all this. It's somebody else. You got to look out for yourself. And that is what I learned from the NFL really quickly, because I was so used to the college where it's like, look, you put in the work, you're going to get it done. You trust the system. You trust what's going on. You're going to get your time. You're going to go in. But when I got into the NFL, it wasn't like that at all. It's some kind of buddy system. You got to really look out for yourself on so many different levels, and that's exactly what everybody's doing. They're looking out for their careers, they're looking out for their families, and they're looking out for themselves. And that, sadly, is what NIL has brought to this whole dynamic of college football.
In the transfer portal.
Right? Everybody was talking about coaches doing it, but like even coaches, there were some coaches who had that, loyalty, that morality, whatever you want to call it, in the past, right? But, there were a lot of them like, oh, they jumped because of money, whatever. Anyway, but because of you're not able to be in a program where you can develop and you can enhance and be infectious on an individual anymore, because at least deals are like 6 to 12 months where you're rotating with guys. You're not able to build relationships anymore. You don't have that with the universities anymore. Even the universities that you came from. Say you coached or you played at a university and now you're coaching at that university. You don't have that same love because the relationships are different. It's not the same as it was when you were playing. When Lewis Powell played at Utah, it's not the same as it was, right? As much as you want it to be, it's not. You got to do the game. So at the end of the day, it's just business transactions all the time. Now, for Coach Whittingham's standpoint, is when you're going into a situation, when you have the opportunity to implement success, and what that means, you got to lean on guys and lean on people. Why would you lean on something you don't know? You lean on stuff you do know, which means personnel, staff, administration, anybody that you know in positions that you know that you'll need, you're going to take with you. You're going to at least offer them the opportunity like, hey, we've done this for years. We've had success, and I know I can't do this without you. Would you like to come with me to XYZ? Why would you not take the people that you know? And it's what it is. He's seen the success that Jay Hill's had at BYU and at Weber State. Right? He's seen the success of working with Jason ever since Jason Beck landed on campus in the spring, and he's been able to implement things, and Coach Witt has been elated with what Coach Beck has been able to do. Why would you not take him with you? You saw what he did in the bowl game. Yeah. Absolutely awesome when Devin Dampier is healthy, right? You saying you can't do that at Michigan? Right? And so you got to lean on the things that you know, what you're secure with, or at least offer them the opportunity. Now, again, everybody's talking about Coach Witt just rummaging through this staff. Is like, everybody has a choice.
Right.
They can stay. Falatal Satawala is staying. He has a choice to leave or not.
I don't know if he was offered or not, but Mark Ottawai is staying.
Right?
Coach Swan's staying. There are coaches staying at Utah.
Right.
Not all of them are leaving.
You have the opportunity, right? And so I just believe that, it's business at the end of the day. You got to understand what this new dynamic of sports is. It is definitely in a semi-professional or professional ranking. This is not really, I think we're jumping straight from high school to this semi-pro stuff. And that's just where we are today with college football.
Yeah, I think it needs to be brought up and discussed that what we're seeing right now is actually pretty common. The truth is, Utah, the program, the university, its fans have been very fortunate that Kyle Whittingham has been in place for 21 years. That is insane. He was, at the time that he stepped down as the head coach at the University of Utah, the longest tenured head coach in the entire country. The entire country. 21 years at one place is not normal anymore.
Right.
I mean, you're seeing coaches bounce around like crazy, like good coaches making moves. Like Lane Kiffin just left Ole Miss after, 6 years? And in that world, that's a long time. So a lot of the shock and awe going on right now is a reaction to the uncertainty of it for a lot of people that have not had to worry about this kind of a transition at the University of Utah for 21 years.
Right.
But this is what normally happens. And we also need to mention it. Kalani's been at BYU for 10 years now.
Right.
And BYU fans haven't had to deal with a lot of turnover.
Right.
There's been changes made here. There are tweaks to the coordinators and changes along the way. But for the most part, I mean, Kalani's always there. Kyle Whittingham's always there. There's a lot of continuity that's taken place in the state that is not common everywhere. I think there's been a reaction of panic because of the unknown.
Unfamiliar territory.
It's very unfamiliar not to have Kyle Whittingham at the head of the University of Utah football program. And for the most part, a staff there's continuity. There's been, like Jim Harding's been there for a decade.
Right.
There's not been a lot. Lewis Powell feels like he's been there since he was a player.
Right.
Morgan has been there forever. These are key members of that staff that it's either have or it's felt like they've been there a long, long time. And, a lot of the offensive staff, I mean, Jason Beck and Micah Simon had been there for a year. Coy Demmer Jr. been there for a year. But you know that Kyle Whittingham is there. And so it's always felt like there's been continuity, even when there hasn't been, even when there has been change. But this is what change feels like in the college football world.
Yeah.
Your head coach leaves, either he's taking another job or he gets fired. He's taking guys with him. There's been coaches fired, and guess what happens to their staff? They're fired too. And that's a complete opposite end of what we're witnessing here right now. These are promotions for these guys. This is a positive thing for a lot of these guys and their families, is they're going to be able to better their families and have a positive impact on their career. It's not that you have to go to Michigan to enhance your career, but here's just a fact. And I know BYU and Utah fans don't want to hear this, but these coaches put Michigan on their resume?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's going to get attention when they're looking for that next step. You want to be a head coach and you're an offensive coordinator? It's a lot easier to get hired as a head coach somewhere if you're the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator of Michigan than it would have been if you were BYU or Utah. You're going to have a lot more opportunities, bigger opportunities, better financial situations. Okay? And all of us that are saying, I don't know, you're not loyal to whatever, we all work in a business world. If there's a company that comes along and offers us a chance to double our income, or it's a more prestigious whatever, you're probably going to look at it seriously.
You're going to do it. Right?
So we can understand these people as human beings wanting to do this. But I understand you, the fan, being frustrated or concerned or worried about what the future brings. Because the continuity that's always been there since you've been watching and following this team is now gone. So I want to bring that up with you, Sly. As we've talked about these guys moving on, not that big of a surprise. Kyle Whittingham is doing what coaches do. They bring their guys with them. So now let's turn the page. Morgan Scalley. This is now his program. Mm-hmm. He's a Utah man since the day he was born. Okay, his dad played football at Utah. He was born to play at Utah. He did play at Utah, was a member of one of, if not the greatest team. I know you'll argue with this. The 2004 team. And he was a coach on the 2008 team. He's been there through it all.
Right.
From McBride to Urban to Kyle, through the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Pac-12 championships. Nobody's more Utah man than Morgan Scalley.
Correct.
So I want you to share with fans why they should be so excited about this transition and not worried about it and not fearful of it or panicking because the cupboard's being raided. Should they be?
No,
first of all.
I think you hit it on the head, right? Everything that you said is the reasons why you should feel good about the next head coach of Utah, right? And a lot of people, this is what I don't understand is like how do you think people become coaches? They get a coaching job sometime,
right,
whenever it is. Whether Coach Witt had to go to Idaho State and then be a staff member and then elevated to defensive coordinator. They've had to have coaching jobs other places. It's gonna happen at some point. For me, Morgan's been a part of this, as you've said and alluded to, Ron McBride, Urban, Coach Witt, since 2000.
Yeah.
It's 25 years, going on 26 years, where he's in this program. Not just love this program, but he's in this program. Right? And I don't know what people want. When you're looking at who to replace something, don't you want to have stability? Don't you want to have what BYU is having right now with Kalani and having somebody there for a long time with tenure, right? Somebody who wants to be there. Kalani was a player at BYU.
Yeah.
He wants to be at BYU. You got to want somebody who wants to be there. And that's why the University of Utah is like, Morgan is our guy no matter what. Right? Because he wants to be here. That is something that we won't have to really argue with or find justifications for is this person wants to be here. He wants to be the head of this university. And that's all you want. And that's what Morgan was talking about after the game with the players too. We're going to get guys in the portal. We're going to get guys that are going to jump ship or whatever. All I want is guys that want to be here. All I want is fans that want to be here. Right. And so, initially you're going to get all of this confusion, discombobulation where everybody's here and there and uneasy because of the unknown. But that happens in transition. Once you see Morgan Scalley start winning, people are going to be like, I want to be at Utah. Right. But, Morgan is going to value the people that's going to be there with him, for him since the jump. That is one thing that I bet you anything he's going to keep notes on. Right? He wants to be here at Utah, and you as fans got to, for me, I love somebody who wants to be here. I know Coach Witt wanted to be here. How many jobs did Coach Witt turn down that his agent got of him needing to go somewhere else to the SEC, the Big Ten, whatever it is? He's gotten a lot more coaching jobs than what this Michigan deal is, right? And he wants to be here at Utah because this is where he wanted to be, right? And, of course, all this other things happen and where it's the business, honestly, for me. It's timing, right? Like Morgan's ready to take over and Coach Witt is teetering on if he wants to keep going or not. And it's like, how long are we going to play that game?
Yeah.
Because
I'm glad you brought that up.
Because Coach Witt, talking to him, man, he's like, oh, I feel refreshed and like I'm ready to go every January. And I'm just like, so you really didn't know if you really wanted to come back until you took like a week off and came back, right? As far as like, we know Morgan's going to be here. Yeah. We know Morgan wants to be here. And so there's just a lot that goes on, but I just think fans need to understand, take the emotions out of this. This is business. And we want to make sure that whoever's at the head of our business wants to be here. I want my CEO to want to be here, to want my organization to be successful. That's what I want. I don't need them piercing eyes anywhere else. Morgan Scalley wants the University of Utah to be on top of the nation. He's a guy who, as you've said and alluded to, grew up a Utah man. There's nothing more that he would want in his heart, and you saw the emotion after the game, than to see Utah a national champion. There's nothing more than he would want. As a fan, that's what I want at the head of my organization. It's as simple as that. And so, as I saying, there's times, there's tribulations, there's things you have to go through and understand within transition that happens. All we're doing is just clearing the shed. And whenever, Scalley gets his core together, it may take a year, it may take 2 years. That stuff happens. Right, we just went from a 5-7 season to an 11-2 season in 1 year.
Yeah.
Right, and so I think that Morgan is the guy for this job, and we just have to rally around him.
Let's hear from Morgan Scalley. He spoke, obviously, after the Vegas Bowl win, 44-22 over Nebraska. By the way, that was butt kicking. It was a good way for Utah to end the year, and it was a great way for Morgan Scalley to get things started at Utah. It was a great performance, and obviously a lot of the coaches that were a part of that are no longer part of the program. But now Morgan Scalley has a chance to replace some of those coaches. And he's going to have to replace some players as well, but he talks about that, and he reassures Utah fans that they are prepared for these changes.
This is a big-time profession, and if people don't think that we've already been planning, already been looking for the next step, then they don't know us. So we will be prepared for whatever is to come, and we are excited for those that want to be Utes. And bottom line is, we hope all these guys in that locker room continue to be here.
Simple.
Yeah.
That is simple. I didn't even hear that. I interviewed him after the game. He didn't say that. That was probably the post game interview before he came to me. But that it is simple. It's just like that. And he's been on it, and he's been coaching waiting for a long time. So he's had a long time to think about what this transition period would look like from Coach Whittingham. Whether he's thinking that guys would jump ship and leave because he's in charge. He's been thinking about this for a long time. If there's anybody more ready for this, there isn't. It's Morgan Scalley. He is ready for this job. He's ready for this opportunity, and it's just time now. And so we got to rally around that transition. Again, you don't know what this first year is going to look like. You don't know what the second year is going to look like, but you have to give time for adjustment, right? And I think that's it. Like, there was time for adjustment in Coach Whittingham's first year after Urban Meyer. Right, I believe that team was a 7-6 team, barely over 500 team, and you know they took 2 years, because I know my freshman year we had another one of those down years, but then we transitioned. My sophomore year we did better, and then the third year we went undefeated. Right, there's got to be evolution. There's got to be learning from your mistakes. What we need to judge Morgan on is not this first year, but what did you learn from your first year, and how are you improving that? Right? And are you getting better year to year to year? We talk about getting 22% better, right? You got to get better in some capacity. That is what every competitor knows in training and anything you do. You got to get better every single day, whether you're learning something new or whatever, in any capacity, in any arena you're in, you got to be getting better. And I think that Morgan is more determined than anybody else in the country to make this program successful, and that is all I want, is somebody who wants to win and will be doing whatever it takes to do it.
He's got a lot of opportunity here, and you talk about transition, and I think it was just assumed that because Morgan Scalley was a lieutenant of Kyle Whittingham, that he sees things the same way and wants to do things the same way. I don't think that's true.
No.
I think Morgan Scalley has his own ideas. He has his own plans. He has his own way of thinking. I mean, if I've had a chance to spend time around both, they're not the same kind of people. They're different. There's differences, and that's totally fine and great. Morgan has his personality. Kyle has his. They all have things I think that they like and don't like. Morgan now has a chance to put his imprint on the program.
Correct.
Morgan can build the staff that he wants to build instead of just taking on a staff that someone else built. And I think that's probably freeing for Morgan. I don't know which of these guys that's coming or going, and only Morgan can answer that, and would probably never say publicly. But I imagine he might be okay with some of these guys moving on.
I was just thinking, as you're saying that, I'm just like, what if Morgan has success this first year? What are people going to say? Oh, that's because those are all Coach Whittingham's guys.
Right. It's like when a coach has success when they first come in. Oh, you're just using the other guy's players.
Exactly.
Well, we'll have to wait and see until you get your own players.
Exactly.
Right?
And so there's no opportunity to wipe the slate clean. Here's the thing: is like, I don't think that they operate the same, but I do think they have a lot of similarities. There's no reason why Morgan was in this program for 15 plus years and they didn't.
There's going to be some alignment. There's going to be some unity.
The family, when I interviewed him after the game, the family, the culture, the mission is still the same, right? We want to develop guys into being the best men, not even football, man, because when you get people in this arena, you want to build them to be the best human beings possible. right? And so you are a leader of men is what they call it. And that's what Morgan wants. He wants to bring the best men. That's what was part of his post-game speech to the guys. He's like, you got to be the best fathers. That is the best title that anybody in this room is ever going to have in life. Not head coach, not DC, not OC. It is father. I want you guys to be the best fathers, which means you got to be the best role models, which means you have to be the best human beings possible. And that is his main goal. And the culture of family is what you're going to see from him. And that is consistent with Coach Whittingham. And so there's going to be a lot of consistencies that's going forward.
If they really live by that.
Yes.
And you really apply those values.
Yes.
That's how you stand out in 2026.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not what's taking place everywhere.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm
that's
just
what,
being honest.
And here's the thing. That's what Kalani's doing down there.
Why do you think they've won 23 games?
That's craziness.
In 2 years.
Right? It's good values and culture. Those are all similar.
Why did we, and we'll get to BYU in the next segment, but why did 4 players today say they're all in?
Right.
When they could have gone all in at another university.
Right.
In the Big Ten.
Right.
They're staying home.
And I know I'm excited because I think that Morgan has a mix of old school and this new school that he's going to implement on this program. He's a tough. He doesn't really take crap. He's like, if you don't want to be here, I don't care. Don't be here. And then he has a sense of, I know what these times are. I know what it's taking and what it is, instead of these guys who are here for 6 months and rehab and then jump into the portal. Anyway, he don't got no time for that, but he understands the game as well. So I'm interested to see how this really goes. This first year is going to be so interesting. It's going to be so much for us to talk about here in the next 8 months.
There's an energy and an excitement about this that should permeate throughout the community here, because
for sure
there's a freshness here.
Yeah.
It's not the same old anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of change going on here right now, and change can be fun if you're willing to embrace it and accept it. A lot of interesting things to sort out still with Utah. The next week is going to be fascinating because he's got to hire staff, and he doesn't have a lot of time. You got to get this done.
Right.
There's too much important things that need to be done in the next week with the transfer portal and everything else and recruiting that still has to be done before February. There's so much going on. He's going to act fast. He's going to move fast. In fact, a couple names I'll throw out there. As far as offensive coordinators go, potentially linked to the job at Utah. Jonathan Smith, the former Oregon State and Michigan State head coach, potentially a candidate for that offensive coordinator position. Marcus Arroyo, who's the current Arizona State offensive coordinator, may have interest in that job. BYU fans don't want to hear this, but Aaron Roderick may have some interest in a second go-round at Utah. Morgan Scalley didn't fire him last time he was there.
Right.
So I think that relationship is intact, and I think that there's a possibility there as well. We'll see how that all shakes out. I bring that up because I want Utah fans to know that there are some really, really interesting candidates out there that have had a lot of success.
Don't overreact. Just let it play out. That's the problem. You're hearing
respect to Jason Beck, who went from New Mexico to Utah to Michigan in a period of 24 months, essentially.
Right. That's less than that.
12 months, right? He was still at New Mexico. What an incredible rise, and he's been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. He's not the only offensive coordinator out there in the world. Right. There's a lot of great coaches out there. Morgan Scalley is going to have a list of highly qualified offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators. Maybe that defensive coordinator hire is on his staff currently. I think we think he is. We'll wait and see on that. But as far as the offensive coordinator goes, there's a lot of options out there that Utah fans listening right now should be very excited about. The future's bright at both BYU and Utah. Don't worry, fans. This happens all the time. It's part of the business. And that's Sly's point.
Yes.
This is now business more than ever. It feels like the NFL because it's operating in a similar way. This is minor league pro football. And you got to accept it. And if you don't like it, there's other sports to watch. So,
but you're not going to.
But you're not. Well, according to the ratings, over 8 million people watched the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Oh, my gosh.
And for good reason. It was fun.
Yes, it was.
Look, it's not what you grew up with. College football's changed. So what? Embrace what it is. Or don't. That's up to you. But the business is going to roll on. And later on in the show, we're going to talk about some things that could be fixed to make it better. But for right now, you have to accept it for what it is. And with change comes excitement, comes something new. So college football is going to look a lot different in the state in 2026. Embrace it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll discuss the situation at BYU. What are they going to do about their staff opening at the defensive coordinator position? One coach at BYU publicly announced right here on these airwaves that he's sticking around. We'll tell you who that is and what players are sticking around. We've got that as well coming up next on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Dun, dun, dun. Alex, you know I play this every day, right?
I only play it when you're here.
I love it.
This song plays at Sly's house every time he steps out the front door.
I don't know. You got to just feel it, too. You just feel it. I feel great when this song comes on, too, and you got your sunglasses. You just feel cool. My nephew comes on. He's like, why do you like this song? I was like, you don't just feel cool when he's just saying that? He's just vibing. It's all about vibe.
You know a guy's got a great life when his life has a soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Sly Sylvester has a soundtrack.
She's deceiving me.
It's good to have a soundtrack.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Every time I get in the car, that's how. If I'm driving, I'm just cruising. It's because I'm listening to Corey Hart. It's perfect.
Only so many guys can get away with wearing sunglasses indoors. Sly's one of them.
Gotta make it happen. Oh my god.
Jay Hill seems like a guy that would get away with wearing sunglasses indoors.
Jay Hill. See, I just know Jay Hill, so I say no. He ain't got swag like that.
Okay. Oh,
he ain't got
okay.
swag like that.
Well,
you know?
he can have nice sunglasses. He's going to Michigan to be the DC.
There you go. I getting a pair of Oakleys.
He's getting a raise.
He'll be out there.
He's already doing all right at BYU. But we talked about the Utah staff and all the changes there. You also know Jay Hill well.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get your reaction to Jay moving on from BYU and going to Michigan. Your thoughts on what he accomplished at BYU and what they're going to be missing without him.
Well, I mean, it's passion, right? I think it doesn't matter what situation is, right? Jay Hill was a University of Utah football player and then coached at the University of Utah. Took over the Weber State job and then went into BYU. What's been consistent about all of that is he is this. It's when, you know, the coaches are talking about we don't prepare for an opponent any differently, right? And I think that is the same way Jay Hill has taken each opportunity that he has. He's putting passion, you know, and I felt it as a coach. He loves what he's doing. And wherever he's at, whether it's BYU, whether it's Utah, Weber, Michigan, whatever, you're going to get 110% of Jay Hill every single time. And that is all you could ask for. I don't want you to hold back nothing because you're playing somebody. It does not matter. Jay Hill wants to win at every turn, and he has passion, and he wants to develop an impression upon whoever he's coaching every single step of the way. And he's just building on his resume, right? Being one of the top DCs in the entire country, you know, at BYU, just turning over that Weber State program the way he did, having so many successful years over there, just tremendous. You can only commend guys like that. And now, you know, him to have the success that he's having and going to Michigan to bring that on one of the biggest stages in all of sports. You know, I'm proud of him, and I'm happy to see exactly what he's able to do. But BYU is going to be missing, you know, a guy that is uber focused. Very passionate, very, very smart. And one of the biggest things is willing to adjust, you know, flexible, right? This isn't working. This kid in this position isn't working. Let's change it around. Let's have a mindset of understanding the entire moment, the entire situation is what I think that was a huge benefit of Jay Hill. A lot of guys are tunnel visioned. Right? They just want it this way. This is how it has to go. Let's squeeze this square peg in this round hole as much as possible and do that. And I think that is a huge miss in today's football. And that's why I think Jay Hill is successful. And I think that's what BYU has benefited from, is a guy who's focused and flexible and willing to adjust on the run.
This is a guy who is from Lehigh, played college football at Rick's, basically an extension of playing in Utah, right? It was always a feeder school for BYU in Utah. And then playing at Utah, he spent his entire coaching career in the state of Utah. From the time he was a GA at Utah after his playing days were over, I don't know if people knew this, he played briefly in the XFL in 2001. But then he's a GA all the way up to becoming a tight ends and special team coach in 2013 before becoming the head coach at Weber State for a decade and then joining BYU staff as a defensive coordinator. This is the first time in his entire football career, both player and coach, where he's really stepped outside this footprint. And I think it's interesting. And I think actually for him, this is going to be a massive, important moment in his coaching career, is to develop and grow outside of this footprint. And I think he probably looked at this as that as an opportunity there. I'm sure it's financially probably even better. But all these guys want to grow. Jay Hill has a chance to grow here. And it stinks for BYU fans because it was a perfect fit. It was a great fit. But it just always felt like Jay Hill was not for long at BYU because this is somebody who's already been a head coach. What's the next step for Jay Hill after this time at Michigan? I think he'd like to be a major Power 4 college football head coach.
Right.
And he will now have the resume to be able to do that. But to do that, maybe he had to step outside this footprint to get that experience. Because there's been openings around the country in the West Coast.
And there's going to be in the future. There will always be, yeah.
And it always seemed like, why isn't his name more prominently featured in some of these hirings out West? Well, maybe these schools just saw, all right, he's just always spent his time in Utah. So this is an opportunity for Jay Hill to go where he wants to go. And it stinks. Change, we talked about it in the Utah segment, that change happens and change can be good. So now BYU has a change. Kalani has a chance to go out and hire a new defensive coordinator.
Right.
It's going to be a challenge because Jay was phenomenal. There's no coincidence.
And that's what BYU fans know.
There's no coincidence that Jay Hill taking over as defensive coordinator right at the start of this transition in the Big 12 had a significant impact on their success over the last 3 seasons, specifically the last 2 when they actually won 23 games in 2 years. And the players that he brought in, we mentioned Falatau Satuala. I'm telling you, if it's not for Jay Hill, Falatau Satuala never went to BYU. He said it was a coin flip at the end.
Right.
We thought he was a lock at Utah when he was in high school.
I did, yeah.
I think Morgan Scalley thought he was a lock too. But he ends up there, and so it was surprising today. And this is good news for BYU fans. And I think that this shows you that, look, change happens, but there's a lot to be excited about. For BYU fans, Falatau Satuala is not following Jay Hill to go to Michigan. He's staying at BYU. He made that announcement today. Right. Parker Kingston is staying. Trey Alexander's staying. And other players are going to stay that we've heard so far. I didn't see a long list of BYU players on the defensive side that jumped in the portal today. If you're a BYU fan, you got to be ecstatic right now. Utah wasn't as fortunate. There's 3 big names from Utah that are in the portal. But you look at it on the BYU side, and guys are staying. What does that say about that program right now? Because you talked about it with Utah. I think you can also you understand the culture at Utah and BYU is the same. I know a lot of people don't want to admit that. It's similar because why?
There's so many similarities.
Because it's all these people from the same tree.
Same tree. These guys grew up and understood, and the things that they know are all from similar backgrounds, right? From Kalani in coaching under Lavelle or playing under Lavelle, to being as a player, or as a young GA coach and coaching under Kyle Whittingham, who Kyle Whittingham was under Lavelle, right? Like there's just so many similarities that it's just hard to not have similar things go on within each other's programs, right? With Weber State, there was a lot of things that happened at Utah as far as schemes, as far as culture, how they went about stuff. I'm sure warm-ups, routines, all those. There's a lot of similarities with all that. Yeah, you don't like it, but, it is what it is. That's why I think the games where Utah versus BYU are so awesome is because of that. Right, you're literally looking in the mirror. What's the memes, the Spider-Man memes? Like you, right? And it's like who can best who when you're looking yourself in the mirror. And I think those are the best matchups to even everybody. That's why, like when you go into a game and they're reading the openings and 2 similar teams. Why is that important to say? Because that means that you're in for a good game. right? Because they do things the right way and they are the exact same. So, there's beauty in that. And I just think that that everybody's got to deal with this, right? Everybody's got to deal with transition. Everybody's got to deal with it. And honestly, who can be the best salesman? It's what it is every year. You hear from these coaches, it's just like we spend more time selling our own guys to stay than getting new people. And that's bizarre.
It's a new world.
And so that's what I think Morgan's going to have to. That's a learning curve Morgan's going to have to really, truly understand.
Well, I mentioned that we talked about the guys in the portal from Utah. Just because they're in the portal doesn't mean they can't come back.
They can't. Well, unless Morgan doesn't want them to come back, right? But here's the thing: you never stop recruiting. And we were talking about this when we covered high school football, right? I think there was a couple guys that went to Oregon or went to whatever, and we're just like, never stop recruiting.
Yeah,
never stop recruiting them.
Yep.
Because in today's day and age, jumping in the portal, they'll be back at your school in no time.
Real quick, I want to mention Gary Anderson announced on Hanson Scotty he's staying. I want to hear from Gary real quick. Alex, I know we got to get to break, but I think fans want to hear this. BYU fans want to hear this. Gary Anderson announcing earlier today right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, he's not going to Michigan. He's not going anywhere. He's staying in Provo at BYU.
Yeah, I'm staying.
Oh, wow.
It's just, it's a great spot for me, and I'm excited to be here. And, you go through transition, you look at things, I tell all these coaches that are going through it, and even these kids that are going through it, I guess you got to, when you go through an opportunity to have decisions to make, whether it's a young man or a coach or whatever it is, I always challenge them to look back and say, okay, it's all different, man. You just won a bowl game. Football's out there. It's on TV. Everybody's all excited about football. Just fast forward to the middle of February, and it's a Wednesday morning, and you're going to wake up, and you're going to go to work. You're going to wake up, go to the weight room, go to school. Are you happy where you're at? And I'm 100% happy where I am. I don't want to do more. I want to be an analyst. I want to help coaches grow. I want to help kids grow. And I want to be the best grandpa in the country. So those are my three goals.
That's
and
awesome.
I get to do all three of those with what I'm doing right now at BYU, and being with Kalani and help him continue to grow and sustain, and go through this transformation with Jay right now. The transformation is it is what it is. Jay found an opportunity. He went off that opportunity. I think we all support him and are very happy for him and happy for Kyle and everybody involved. But now you look back, and we have a very, very sound foundation defensively, and the way we've grown over the last 2 or 3 years and built the scheme. Those guys have been in that room with us, and it's a lot. We've grown. We've grown from a 4 down front to a 3 down front, and it's really grown into a lot of what we were doing when I was with Kalani at Oregon State and with Dave Aranda for all those years. We're doing a lot of those things, but we've mixed the core of all of us together, and I think it's a special group. So there's a lot of guys who have called a lot of defensive games in that room. We're going to be in a great spot, and the adjustments that ultimately the Kalani decides to make on the staff and get those titles done will be done here real quickly, and we'll start rolling and going and get a guy ready to get out there and knock the socks off it when he calls plays next year. Boom,
there you go. It's surreal
Yeah.
if you've known and followed Gary Anderson all these years, but he feels right at home at BYU.
Ew.
He's not going anywhere.
It's so weird.
I know it is. But this is college football in 2026. Now we wait to see who Kalani
The real
will
is
hire
normal, right?
as the defensive coordinator. Embrace change, folks.
Embrace it.
Embrace change. Gary Anderson's embraced it. We all can, too. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, would you rather before Andre Tourigny, Utah Mammoth head coach, will join us. Massive win on New Year's Day. We'll break that down next. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jeremiah Jensen, Sly Sylvester sitting in for Alex Kirry on a perfect day because of everything that's going on, both at Utah and BYU, the coaching staffs and the transfer portal, et cetera. We're breaking it down all day today right here. But we have Coach Bear Tourigny coming up here momentarily, so got to be quick with this. Would you rather watch a bowl game, Sly, or a NFL playoff game?
Just a regular bowl game? Not like a CFP game?
All right, let's go CFP.
Oh, that's a great question. That's actually really good because these CFP these last couple of years, all of them have been really good. There's something you could take from all of them, but I normally really love because I've played in the NFL playoffs. I love NFL playoff games.
Yeah. I'd be an NFL guy too.
Yeah,
I
think
the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I got to go just because I've experienced it and there's a little bit more behind it as far as, tenure, but like the NFL playoff games, I'll go with that.
I think it's tough for a lot of football fans because they do love the college game, but there's just something about the NFL playoffs that I love and stands out.
Right.
And, college football, I mean, as much as I love everything about college football and how fun it is, there's another level to the NFL. Mm-hmm. But a lot of you listening may disagree, and you all in on the CFP. Like if Alex Kirry was sitting here right now, he'd be laughing at me asking this question. It's college football all day, every day for him.
Right.
So everybody's different. But I was curious to get your response because you've done both.
Right. Well, I haven't played in the playoffs.
Well, you played in a big game.
Big bowl game. But, yeah, that was awesome. But I don't know, man, just something in the air about the NFL playoffs, the sudden death aspect of it, and literally every play, every moment. You remember that big Denver Broncos game? It was Tebow, Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
That played us and beat us.
Yeah.
But we went into overtime, and like that entire game was just hit after hit, play after play. Every moment mattered. I don't know. NFL playoff games are just amazing.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Utah Mammoth head coach Andre Tourigny will join us from New York. The Mammoth celebrating a really nice win over the Islanders. Can they repeat that against the Devils and the Rangers on this 3-game trip? We'll talk to him about that and more next on JJ and Alex 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back in, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jeremiah Jensen, Sly Sylvester sitting in for Alex Kirry, who's still enjoying his holiday break. But there's no break in the sports world. Things keep going. Lots going on today. And it's not just college football. It's not just the transfer portal. You got the NHL going as well.
Oh, yeah.
And what a day for the Utah Mammoth yesterday. We're going to get into that right now. Head coach Andre Tourigny about to join us. That is the cut at 4 o'clock.
Your exclusive radio home of the Utah Mammoth is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Now it's time to hear from the head coach of the Mammoth, Andre Tourigny.
The cut's brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships, Dodge, Ram, Chevrolet, Subaru, Kia in Linden, and now Mitsubishi in American Fork. It is now our privilege and our opportunity to catch up with the head coach of the Utah Mammoth live from New York. It's Andre Tourigny. That sounds kind of cool. How you doing, Coach?
Yes. Very good yourself.
I guess you can't say live from New York. It's Saturday night because it's Friday afternoon, but that's as close as we're going to get here. But, boy, New York's treating you guys well so far. Just wanted to start with getting your reaction to just a fantastic win. What a way to start the year with just an absolutely terrific performance against the Islanders.
Yeah, there's a lot of good in that game, because our start of the game was not what we wanted. We had a slow start, but the boys were capable of staying with it, weathering the storm. Veggie came up big, made a few big saves, and then we got the rhythm back. So for us mentally, even if we didn't have the right start, we were capable of staying in the present and rebooting and stepping up in the second half of the game, and I think that was huge for us. Our special team was really good, and we scored big goal at key moments. So that was not just the result. The performance was really good.
Hey, can you talk more about Dylan Gunther? Another hat trick last night. Just how is he just in the zone right now? 36 points on the season. He's just 20 goals on the season, but like he's just grooving every single time I talk to you. It's just like he's just having another big game after big game. What type of vibe is he giving out to the rest of the team?
I think What is really cool about him right now is he's playing his best hockey on the defensive side of the puck as well. He's doing all the right thing. He works hard. He plays against the best every night. He matched that line with Crosser and Barrett-Ayton against the first line on the other side. So he's really performing both sides of the puck, and that pay off for him. So that's excellent for him to. He's a guy who has a really good mindset. He understands the game, not just the offensive game, the both sides of the puck. So on top of it, to be a reward the way he is in the last stretch, I think it's really good. It's really, because he make him understand both can go together. It's not, okay, I need to play good defense, so now I don't have offense. No. You can play good defense, and you get a reward offensively as well.
How important was it for you guys to start the trip off with a performance like that? You know, looking back to the Nashville game, it felt like you let one get away there, that tough third period. How important was it to kind of get back on track on the road as you start this trip?
Oh, it's really important. I think, the stretch before Christmas, it was a demanding one physically, mentally. It was 21 game in 37 days, so that you have more game than you have day off, and at some point it's a little bit demanding, if you want, challenging. So when we came back after Christmas, after the break, we played a really good game against Nashville, but like you said, we'll let it slip. So okay, now we're getting in the second half. We have that trip to New York, and then we'll go back home. Now it's time for us to climb the ladder and win on a consistent base. So the game against Nashville give us a sour taste because, okay, we played well, but so what? It doesn't matter if you don't win. There's no moral victory. So I think yesterday especially with the start we had to regroup and find a way to win the game, I think that's how we want our second half to be. It's not just you will not always play your A game from start to the end, but you need to find a way, no matter how's your performance, even if you don't play maybe the way you exactly wanted to, you need to find a way to win still.
Yeah, so tomorrow night you take on the Devils again. You get another crack at them, from that earlier loss just before Christmas. Yep. What is the game plan going to go into tomorrow? I know you guys are on your road trip, all the way to the East Coast isn't easy. You guys are in the New Year's mix in New York, but what is the vibe or what is the game plan going to be going against the Devils tomorrow night?
We just had a practice today. The Devils, since we played them, they have their star player, Jack Hughes, and Timo Meier are back in the lineup. So it's a team who will have more jam, more skill in their lineup than last time we played them. So we owe them one. And like I said, I think in terms of performance, the way we play lately, we play really good. So now it's time to get in their building and just, like I just tell you a moment ago, okay, now it's time for us to stack the win, to stack the good performance, and to find a way. So tomorrow against the Devils, for us, it will be to be stingy defensively, like we have been lately. But as well, we need to get inside. The last time we played them, we played a good game, but we were not as inside. As much traffic in front of their goalie. Markstrom has had a really good game against us. We need to make sure we take his eyes away.
It's crazy how time goes by so fast. You've already played 41 games. You mentioned it, referenced it a moment ago. You're officially halfway through the season, which is crazy because it's January 2nd. But as you look at the first half of the season, I think what you mentioned it there. You got to start stacking wins. How does a team find consistency, and what are some of those things as a head coach that you try to dial in to help a team find consistency? Because we've seen when you guys are consistent, especially earlier when you had that streak, you guys can play with anybody in this league.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you talk about consistency, if we were in depth, if we were together and I was showing you our underlying numbers, our real performance in terms of number of scoring chances we get from whatever distribution, from the rush or from the ozone play or from the forecheck, and same thing in defensively, offensively, and defensively. We are top 10 team in all of those. Across the board. We analytically wise, all our underlying number, the data, the performance is there. So we've been consistent in terms of performance. What makes the difference for us? We need to have the maturity to make the little play will make the difference. Make sure we change the right way. Make sure we manage the puck the right way. Make sure we don't get caught on the ice tired at the end of a shift and stuff like that. Because if you look at most of our game in the last, let's say, 5-6 weeks, we dominate our opponent in terms of expected goal. We have more scoring chance than they do, but we need to get one more save. We need to score one more goal. We need to be in front of the net to get that screenshot who makes the difference. Our power play needs to play like we play in the last 2 games or the last 2 weeks. Those kind of things will push us over the edge because we're right there in terms of performance. But now we need to play the game in the game who will make us win. Well, the little detail, the little on-man rush we will get or we won't give, that's what will make the difference. Because if you look at our game against Nashville, we play a really good game, but we change on the bad check on one, and we take a bad penalty in the third period, and now's the difference in the game. Those two play, it's something we can control. It's not a skill. It's not something it happened. We had no control. It's not a puck will bounce over your stick, which is, okay, will always happen. No. Those are things you control. You decide to change on the bad check. You decide to take a penalty in the neutral zone. That's not something it happened. You had no control of. So that is what we're talking about. We need to be better at controlling those little things. Right. So that will push us over the edge.
Coach, who's been an unsung hero for you guys, right? You know, we got our names. We got the Gunthers, the Coolies, the Kellers, the Sergeys, the Veggies. Who's been an unsung hero that you've been proud of thus far this season?
First name that comes to my mind is Lawson Krause. I think leadership, physicality, focus, urgency every night. Just what I just did talk about you about. Doing the little thing, playing the game in the game. Right. Not sure he is amazing. He's been a huge leader for us and a huge inspiration for us. And he has that drive, that passion to perform every night. He really been huge for us this year.
Well, good vibes to start the new year, the 7-2 win over the Islanders, and then we get the news that Olli Maatta is going to represent Finland in the Olympics, and Clayton Keller will get to play for Team USA. After getting snubbed for the Four Nations, you had to be thrilled to hear that Clayton Keller is going to chance to be a part of Team USA at the Olympics.
Absolutely. And you know, on top of being really happy for him, he's a great guy. He's a guy I've been with for 5 years. I really like the person and the player. It's always great to witness a guy who exactly like you said. He didn't make it in the Four Nation, and he reacted the right way. He did not whine and complain. No. He just stepped up and be just even better. Won at the World Championship for USA, won the World Championship for the first time in the history. The USA won the championship, and he was the captain of that team. That was a choice he made. So he showed the kind of character he had, and we beat the drum all the time when we talk about Kels in front of you and in front of our fans to say how much determination and drive, and he's so driven to be better, to perform, to be an elite player. He is an example for everybody, and that is an exclamation point to prove it. It's not because the bell did not ring the first time, then you have to quit. It's the reverse. If you double down, good thing will happen for you. And Kels is a great example for our team, for everybody. So really happy for him.
We're just a month away from having NHL players participate in the Olympic Games. You can watch on KSL. We're excited to be able to be a part of that. And to be able to have exclusive coverage of that coming up in the month of February. But this is the first time that the NHL has been part of the Olympics since 2014. Your thoughts and opinion on that? Do you like that the NHL is going to have its players be a part of this, or would you rather see guys just avoid injury and other things? I know there's probably different opinions.
No, I think it's outstanding for the game. You know, it's that will be best on best. You saw last year the Four Nation, how great was the game and how much viewer. And I think that we talk about growing the game. That's, whatever when U.S. will play or Canada or Sweden, and everybody in their own country will follow their team. The passion is there, and I think that's best on best. The biggest stage at the Olympics. Who never dreamed to be at the Olympics as a little kid? I remember when I was young following the Olympics and wanting to represent my country and carrying the flag and stuff like that. So I think that and having the best athlete in the world competing against each other in our sports, I think that would be an outstanding window for hockey, and there's nothing better than that.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see you guys back on the ice against the New Jersey Devils on Saturday. Coach, it's always a treat. We can't thank you enough for doing this each and every week. I know the fans really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and good luck on the rest of this trip in New York.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year to you and all our fans.
Happy New Year, Coach. Thank you. Andre Tourigny, head coach of the Utah Mammoth, joining us as he does each and every week right here on JJ and Alex.
Gotta love that guy. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I love when he's talking about defense turning to offense, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a hockey player, but it's just great to know how many things translate in other sports.
Basketball, football, hockey, same principles.
Yeah.
Just different sports and different ways of doing it.
Exactly. And he was talking about how impressed he was of Dylan Gunther. And Dylan Gunther's on fire right now. And his defense is what Coach is pointing out is helping him do all of these things offensively. It's absolutely awesome, man. So love that.
Yeah, the Utah Mammoth, they really needed that. I think we're looking around the league, and you see what Buffalo's doing. I mean, Buffalo was bad. Like that, the Sabres were awful. Guess what? They're not bad anymore. And a 10-game win streak can change everything. The Buffalo Sabres currently, with a couple of former Mammoth players on their roster, have won 10 straight games. They've gone from the bottom of the barrel in the Eastern Conference to a wild card spot currently. They're at 46 points. Yes, the Buffalo Sabres have 5 more points this year than the Utah Mammoth, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Seattle Kraken. You can turn things around. That's what's great about the NHL is if you have these guys come together under the right coach, and even a place like Buffalo that struggled for a long time, they haven't been to the playoffs in forever.
Right.
I think they have the longest streak in North American pro sports without reaching the postseason. And you even see them turning things around right now. We've seen enough from the Utah Mammoth this year to know that this is a team that should be competing at the highest level. Bill Armstrong came on our show right before the season started, and he says, "Are we a top 10 team in the NHL? I don't know yet." Well, the first month of the season they were. Since then, they haven't been, to be quite blunt. And Coach Tourigny just came on here, and he made his case and said, look, if you look at the analytics, we are a top 10 team. We're right there with all those other teams. What he's trying to figure out, what that group's trying to figure out is why are we letting some of these games slip away? Mm-hmm. And that's the issue with this team right now is the lack of consistency. They have a good game. You have a 7-2 game against the Islanders. What are they going to do in Newark on Saturday? You're going to build off that, or are you going to lose the Devils? It wipes away a 7-2 game if you go and lose to New Jersey.
Right.
And then
make it a good effort. Make it worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have these moments that gets everybody excited. A hat trick by Dylan Gunther, and then you crash and burn the next game. You're like, come on, guys.
Stop riding the wave. Just trend upwards.
We've seen greatness out of this group.
Right.
And when you see greatness out of a group, the standard should raise.
Right.
The bar should be raised. And it has for this team. Coach Tourigny understands that. He's heard the criticism. It's valid. It's fair. This team is better than what they've shown since that 8-game win streak earlier in the year. That you watch that team play during that streak, you're like, this is a Stanley Cup playoff team. There's no doubt about it. And since that time, they haven't been consistent enough to be at that standard. But they are better than what they've shown, and they've got to make it consistent. Now you start the second half of the year. It's a new year, new you, right? So this Mammoth team needs to find that consistency. The talent is there. Everything's in place to be able to be a winner in this league. You got to do it every night in, night out. You can't have games like Nashville where you're up 3-2 entering the third period, and then you let it slip.
Yeah.
You can't
Gotta
your
finish.
home ice.
That's what championship people do. Championship teams, championship
Steven
people.
Stamkos scores 2 goals in that game. That's a guy that's won cups with the Lightning.
Finish, yeah.
But you got guys like that on your team too.
Right.
Okay, so just because that guy's a future Hall of Famer and he's a special player doesn't mean you need to slip and let him have opportunities like that. This team's got to find that consistency. You know they have the capability, and they should be judged harshly for not finding that yet. I think the criticism is valid that this team has not been consistent, and they have to figure out why that is. They've got a +8 goal differential. They're the only team outside of the Avalanche, the Stars, and the Wild in the Western Conference with a positive goal differential of +8. They don't come anywhere near those 3 teams, but you can make an honest case right now that the Mammoth are one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the West, with one exception. Their record. Their point total is 41. They have a better goal differential than the Edmonton Oilers, the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Anaheim Ducks, but all 3 of those teams are at 45 points or higher on the season. Those teams have negative goal differentials, but they have found a way to win a lot of those games, even though they don't have that tight. The Mammoth have been absolutely awesome one night and then the next. Can't have that. Because what do you have when you do that? A 500 record.
And you miss the playoffs.
They're 19-19-3 for 41 points. And guess what that's going to give you? Yes, Sly. Another year where you're sitting there watching the Stanley Cup
You're right
playoffs.
on the border. You're like, dang, we should have been in there. If we would have did that.
Coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
What if we would have finished that game against Nashville right before the new year?
Right.
That's 2 points we missed there.
Right.
Look, we can make the list. We know. We've seen this team have so many opportunities, and it's a new year. I want to see this team get hot. Now, a thing about you're looking at their schedule and what they've been through. This is a team that's had a very road-heavy schedule. Not only have they 41 games this year, they've been on the road a lot. That's going to ease up. So in the month of January, they're home a lot. So they have these 2 games to finish this trip, Sly.
Oh, I got to go to a game. Okay.
It's time.
Yeah.
And if any of you are listening and you want to go to a game, and let me throw out some of these teams they're playing, you're definitely going to want to go. So when they get back from New York, and if they're able to sweep this trip, then
they'll propel us to have a really good January.
Then you come back home for some home cooking. This is where this team needs to find themselves. And I know Logan Cooley's out of the lineup and will be probably until after the Olympics. But this is an opportunity. Look at the schedule. You get home from New York, you've got Ottawa, St. Louis, Columbus. The Toronto Maple Leafs are here on January 13th. One of those games you want to get tickets for. The Dallas Stars, a team that's owned them, they got to break that. They got to beat the Stars. That's on the 15th. Then Seattle's here. Then Philadelphia. The Flyers are in town on the 21st. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight home games coming off of this trip. Get hot right now. Finish this trip 3-0. Last year they went into New York and they won 2 of 3. You just won 7-2. Okay? You just beat the Islanders, who are good. That's a good hockey team. You whipped them 7-2. Get hot right now. It's time for this team to get hot. If the Buffalo Sabres can win 10 straight,
right?
Why can't you,
right.
Utah Mammoth? This is your opportunity. This is your window right now to catch fire before the Olympic break comes up.
Oh yeah, that's
1 month from now.
An exciting.
So after that homestand, you got 4 straight on the road: Nashville, Tampa Bay, Florida, Carolina, the Southern trip. But then you come home for Dallas, Vancouver, and Detroit before the Olympic break. And I know those are challenging games. Well, Vancouver's not, but Dallas and Detroit are challenging games. But this is your moment. January should be your time where you're home, you're rested, you're comfortable, and you're in a rhythm. The Utah Mammoth need to stack W's in the month of January. The month of January will make or break their Stanley Cup playoff hopes, because if they continue on this one good game, one bad game path throughout the entire month of January, this team ain't good enough. Right. And then things, get dicey for a lot of people. And that's when you start talking about, do changes need to be made? Because it's clear this team is good enough to be in the Stanley Cup playoff. Now is the time to prove it. You had a tough schedule in November and December. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. January, let's put up or shut up.
Right.
The schedule's in your favor. You're going to be home. get it done in the month of
If
January.
you go ham, you got 4 games the entire month of February. I would just lay it all on the line and get as many wins as you can this month of January, because you got a big, big rest month because of that Olympic break in February. And so get as many as you can in now. This is a perfect opportunity. And then go on a run. You go on a run in March, man, you are going to be prime and in the right position. But you got to set yourself up here, and you get a good break. And this is a perfect schedule setup for the Mammoth. They got to do it. We got a big home month, so I can't wait. I'm going to try to attend multiple games this month. But the Mammoth got to make it happen. This is going to be a great month for them.
Yeah, this is the time. To your point, it's home heavy. Now, you go all in on this part of your schedule. You get hot here, and you go into the break, the Olympic break. Like you've won I didn't count up the number of games here, but like 12 of 14 games, right? Like you're just on fire. Guess what happens when you get back from the Olympics? Logan Cooley will be back. And you've got this huge run you went on in January that puts you in position to finish strong. Got to do it, though. Enough talk. Like, this team needs to go out and be more consistent. And Andre Tourigny just talked about that. They've got, analytic-wise, on paper, they're outstanding. I just mentioned the goal differential. They have a goal differential that only the elite teams in the NHL have. Why are you at 500 when you've been that good? You got to show up in January. It's time for this team to get it going. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Nick Saban thinks he can fix college football. I think he's got some ideas too. And one of the biggest problems is something he addresses and that we're going to talk about next on how you fix college football. It's coming up next on JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone on a Friday right after the holidays. If you're working like us, kind of cruel, right, to ask to come in after all the holidays. But you got to get back to work eventually. And we're happy to be here because there's so much going on right now. My goodness, what a whirlwind of a week here locally. The Utah sports scene has been no sleep. My goodness. You just got back from Vegas.
Oh. So
you had a good time, I'm sure.
I'm working the whole time. I didn't get to see it. Well, family actually came up to my pop-up event, so that was great.
Oh, that's cool.
So I got to see some high school people, and all my Vegas people came through. So that was good. But, yeah, I've been working, and as soon as the game ends, we clean up and get right on the charter. So little busy.
No days off.
No, and it's the warden's birthday yesterday, too.
Oh,
so it's the
happy birthday.
Warden's birthday weekend. And so, yeah.
We want to, on behalf of JJ and Alex, we want to wish the warden a happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday to the warden. She keeps me working. You know, a honey-do list never, ever ends.
Even on the holidays.
Oh, what holidays? Whip it. Oh, my gosh. It's so funny. But no, it's been good, man. The holidays were great, and now we're into January.
Yeah, and we're here to solve the world's problems. That's what we do here on JJ and Alex. We got ideas, or we play other people's ideas. Nick Saban has ideas about how to fix college football. I want to play this, and Sly, I want to get your reaction after you hear what he has to say. Nick Saban was asked by the College Game Day staff what needs to happen, because look, the game is fun. We're watching it like we've never watched it before. We mentioned there's like 8.7 million people watch BYU and Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So it's not like we're going to stop watching. But there's clearly some issues with the game right now in this modern post-NIL transfer portal world we're living in that need to be fixed. And Nick Saban has some ideas.
We need to change the calendar. Chaos in college football starts tomorrow. The portal opens. So what happens if Ole Miss wins and Oregon wins? So Oregon's got two coordinators trying to take guys from their team to their team and guys from other teams to their team.
Yep.
And Ole Miss has got 6 coaches going to LSU trying to take guys to LSU from their team, but they got to play a game.
Right.
So bad.
Now, is that chaos or is that chaos?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
This whole college football calendar needs to change. That would be my New Year's resolution.
But I've heard that. Besides you, who do we go to with that?
Well, I don't think there's anybody in authority in college
That is the
football
problem.
except the conference commissioners.
Right.
So if they can't get together on it,
Well, they won't.
you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to be sort of having their own self-interest, in mind.
Own agenda.
Yeah.
But unless they make the portal in May, which I've said before, to kind of match up with the academic calendar, change spring practice till after that, so that you can get your team together and work over the summer, just like an NFL team does. They don't have their team together until after the draft, after free agency. It's May. So do the same thing in college football, and you wouldn't have these issues with coaches changing jobs because everybody could finish the season with their team, which is what's best for the players.
That's right.
That's number one, because there'd be no hurry, because now there's a hurry because all these recruiting the calendar is hurry up and get a coach, or you can't take advantage of an early signing date, and you can't take advantage of the portal.
Sly, your thoughts on what Nick Saban's talking about with the calendar?
1,000, and I love that he's retired now, so he can say whatever the heck he wants and exactly how he feels, because he's talking one from the perspective of now being a fan and being watching this, and then also his effects of what he was feeling as a coach, right? And he's a guy who's implementing a great coaching tree. How many guys have been from Nick Saban's coaching tree, right? And so guys leaving, you're trying to establish yourself, right? We were just talking about Coach Whittingham going to Michigan, right? The season's not over. He's having those contract talks with Jay Hill, with Beck, and all this before they played their bowl game.
Right.
Coach Beck told the team that he was leaving right after the game. That means that conversation was had well before.
Yeah.
Right? And so Coach Saban is speaking truths right there. He is preaching. And look, we just talked about it when we opened it. We were talking about how this has become a professional model, right? Semi-professional, whatever you want to call it. It is a professional model. You need to have everything else under that same professional model, right? The professional rankings have a certain time period where all of these transactions can happen. From coaching conversations, you cannot talk to a coach until a certain time in the offseason, right? Which is right after the Super Bowl or right after the season or something where you can have those conversations. But I agree wholeheartedly with him. There is so much, like I was just reading something in the break talking about the Ole Miss D tackle, talking about Lane Kiffin, right? And how Lane Kiffin, he's a fake, and he was trying to demoralize his team, and he's out there for publicity stunts and trying to ruin us. But we've actually come together now that he's gone, and we actually have a real coach. Like, you can just see the effects of all of this stuff happening to a team. Right? The JMU guys getting new jobs, the Tulane guys getting new jobs as they're getting ready for the CFP stuff. As much as they talked about it not being a distraction, it is a distraction.
100%, yeah.
And so, I think he's speaking 1,000% truth, and I agree with him. I just hate that these guys know this. I don't think Nick Saban is saying anything groundbreaking, right? They know this. Why is it taking so long to implement these things?
Because there's no authority. The NCAA has been sued.
Yeah, you're correct.
Their pants have been sued off. I can't think of a better way to describe it.
Who do we talk to?
So the NCAA is afraid to do anything. There's no commissioner of college football. You know who's in charge? 2 entities. Number 1, the TV networks. Number 2, the commissioners of the Big Ten and the SEC. Don't for 1 minute think that Brett Yormark's in charge of anything other than the Big 12. He does.
He puts up a good fight, though. I like Brett, but he puts up a good fight.
Yeah, but does the Big 12 honestly have a voice?
No.
Does the ACC have a voice?
No.
Okay, so who's in charge?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame has some power. Notre Dame has some power, but not as much as they think either.
Right.
As they just found out. It's the commissioner of the Big Ten, it's the commissioner of the SEC, and it's the TV networks. So how are you going to regulate those? You're not. Now, Nick Saban says he thinks Congress needs to get involved. Ugh. That's where I'm like, ugh. Do we really think the government knows how to fix this too?
Of all people?
No, but we got some issues here. And in order to get real change, I think you do have to have a commissioner, and you do have to have some kind of governing body that has power. But not the NCAA. A governing power that doesn't have a special interest. Like the NCAA had a special interest. They had their own power they were lording over. The SEC commissioner has his own special interest. The Big Ten commissioner has his special interest. Coaches and players have their special interest. You need an entity over college football whose special interest is the integrity and sanctity of the game.
Yeah.
And the brand of college football.
Right.
And protecting that. Why is the NFL so successful?
Because they're one unit.
Protect the shield.
They're one. They're not that many voices. They have a governing power, which ultimately is one person, Goodell, the commissioner.
But everything he works for 32 owners.
Right, but there's that one voice.
Yes.
It's not 50 million voices that people say like, yeah, you have a voice and you have no. Look, there's an arbitrator. There is a guy who makes the decisions ultimately, right? It's why
they negotiate with the NFLPA, which is all the players. Right. And if they can't come to an agreement, then
there's
so
a
be
stalemate.
it.
But there's still this reason why you go into business is 51-49. It's never 50-50.
Right.
Right? Because you need somebody to be able to make the decision at the end of the day. And that is where the NFL and these professional leagues are. The NCAA is I don't know how many times we've said it's the wild, wild west.
It's chaos.
It is chaos. And that's the simple word that everybody is consistently using these last few years. It's disgusting. And it gets worse and worse every year. You think like it couldn't get any worse. And it does. You're like, what are these kids doing? What are these coaches doing? What are these universities doing?
Yeah.
I am bewildered and shocked every single time because I'm just like, how in the heck did we get to this point? How is this not prevented? How did you let this happen? It's been so asinine that you think that it's not possible for them to do, and it happens anyway. How?
Anytime there's an extreme, the pendulum will swing the other way. So the extreme in college football for a long time was the NCAA having too much power.
Right.
I mean, guys becoming ineligible for eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay? That's pretty far on that other side. When these players that can't have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich are making that same institution and the NCAA and everybody else involved millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So a wrong was righted. The players now can get NIL. The players can now benefit from their work, which is, it's ridiculous and downright immoral that they weren't for a long time, right? We all agree with that. Change needed to happen. But it swung the complete other way, where it's the wild, wild west, and you don't know who's playing for one school 1 week after the next. We just talked about the portal opening up today, and these Utah players that are some of the best Utes are in the transfer portal. Why? They have all their own reasons, but 10 years ago, there's no reason for those players to leave.
No reason.
You're building legacy. You're a part of a program. You're getting a degree. All that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Right. It's about how much money can I get in the transfer portal, or can I go jump and follow my coach to whatever school he's going to next? It's musical chairs. It's wild and crazy. We just talked about Sam Levitt. Reports aren't confirmed, but it looks like he's going to land somewhere in the SEC. Why? What are we doing here? How many schools is this? All these players are going to bounce around. That's not healthy either. So someone has to come in here and find the middle ground. And I'm glad Nick Saban, like you said, I'm glad Nick Saban is saying it out loud, that everything needs reform. The problem is, who's going to reform it? And are the people currently in power willing to give up a little bit of that power for the benefit of the game?
That is the question, because I'm like, who is going to approve this? Right? Which organization is going to say, we got to get behind it? You think the players are going to want to get behind somebody giving them more structure?
They don't want to give the power back.
They don't want structure.
They don't want to give up the money.
They want Sam Levitt going to Kentucky for $5 million and not having to.
They're all high-fiving him, yeah. I guarantee you, next time they're at media days.
I want to go to Vegas and drop $1,000 hands on blackjack.
Well done, bro.
Like it's nothing.
Way to work the portal, bro.
At 18 years old.
I respect his game. What's the middle ground? Who's going to establish it? Because the health of the game moving forward depends on it. Look, we're still going to watch. We still are. But there are some real problems in this game, and there's a lot of people that are being hurt by it. Look, how many high school players right now have no chance to play Division I football because they're not getting looked at?
That's a shame.
These schools, I guarantee you, unless you got a 4-star next to your name, I don't care. I'm in the portal, baby. Yeah. They don't want to have to go travel around the country and watch a bunch of high school games and sit in some parent's living room. They want to just log into the portal, say, yeah, I know who that is. Right. How much money do we have to throw his way? I mean, Oregon and all these programs are running around with blank checks.
Right.
They don't have to go evaluate film and build relationships and win over mom and go have dinner with the family. And those days are over.
Well, the problem is the winning over moms is the same conversation now. Normally the kids had a different...
It's easy to win over mom with a big check.
Exactly. How much can you pay my son, a.k.a. us?
Yeah.
Right? And so, yeah, it's just, it sucks because that's what Coach Whittingham was talking about. He's like, going into these living rooms anymore, it's not even just the kids saying it. It's the parents, too. Just like, so how much can you give us? That's the conversations that are had now. So, I mean, that's why I'm telling fans and whatever, it's not the same football we used to know. And once you accept that and move forward and try to understand what the new game is, just be open with what the new game is, that's how we can push forward. But we sitting over here asking, like, why they do this? Why they do this? You'll never know. You'll never understand. And it is business. There is zero emotion that should be a part of this game anymore.
We've got to get back to this middle ground where the players can be compensated appropriately, where coaches don't quit on their team after game 12,
right?
With staffs and all this stuff shuffling through. We don't need multiple portal windows. There needs to be a structure in place, and Nick Saban is absolutely dead on. The calendar must be fixed. The problem is we have no idea who's going to fix it. And as long as the powers that be like things the way they are because they're rolling in dough, no change is going to happen.
Yeah, how does Lane Kiffin jump in the portal at 11-1?
It's a joke. It's stupid.
You were in the top conference, and you're leading that conference. You have one loss on your entire record.
And you've built something special at Ole Miss. And you're going to walk away from that to what?
You got a first-round draft pick last year.
To what? Why?
Money, of
prestige.
course.
Oh, man, I'm the head coach at LSU now. Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me. That's all I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. It is crazy, but like nothing makes sense. And that's what I've taken from it. I was like, I've stopped trying to make sense of this stuff because it doesn't. The morality that we used to understand and think that people have is out of the window. It is pure, I am taking care of thyself. And that's the bottom line. Coaching staff, players, and now universities. And you know what the crap, I tell you, man, I wanted to know. I've said this 2 years ago. I was like, I want to know the 30 for 30s that are going to come out in 2027. From all of these stories, from people being butt naked on the streets because they thought they would make it in the portal and nobody got picked up. And now you don't have an education anymore. And this is what's crazy, too. Is like these universities are so much in debt now because of all this NIL stuff, right? Like, and they're still giving out full ride scholarships. You're still paying for these kids' school.
Yeah.
They don't care about school. Nobody's talking about school. They don't even go to school anymore. Everything's online, and they're having some chick they paid $200 after they signed for $2 million. They pay some chick $200. Hey, take care of my class for me. To struggling college kids, take care of my class for me, do the exact same stuff that you're doing, and we're good, right? We're good. Take the student.
Do they check and see if kids are going to class? Are they checking their eligibility?
Take the student out. This is a farm league. This is purely semi-pro.
They're employees now.
How are you
students.
paying somebody $2 million+ and paying for their education that they don't care about? Literally, the universities are just forking it out. Universities, a.k.a. the community, a.k.a. you guys. You guys that are donating to this university, where's the ROI? That's the bottom line, and that's what these private equity firms are going to correct. They're going to self-correct that. Please believe, if anybody cares about business and the bottom line, it's these PE firms.
Uh-huh.
So, change is going to come.
ROI.
Is it going to be what you want? Or what? It's going to come. Be ready for it. Stop trying to understand it. Just adjust.
All I know is there's got to be a correction. There's got to be some way to get back to the middle, and Nick Saban has some pretty good ideas. Maybe he should be the commissioner.
I like that. He don't put up with no stuff. I like him.
That's what this game needs right now is some organization, some structure, and a new calendar. All right, when we come back, it's a bowl version of the top 10. Let's see how Alex and Sly do on their knowledge of bowl games and bowl history. Coming up next on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's nice to start the new year with a little yacht rock. It's a good vibe.
You can do this all year.
I mean, you got your Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart as your soundtrack. That's from before you even born in 1983.
Hey, man, that isn't just because I wasn't born doesn't mean they didn't make good music.
Exactly. So, Sly, make a little room in your life soundtrack for some yacht rock.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
thank me later.
Oh, it's already there. I'm there all
Micah
day, man.
McDonald. It's a good vibe.
Yeah. He made some good tracks.
All right. It's time for the top 10. And got to do a bowl theme here because bowl season's almost over, so I gotta sneak this in before bowl season's over. You, Annapolis, I want to test your bowl knowledge, and this is not hard. This is really not hard. So consider this a New Year's gift to both of you that I won't completely embarrass you live on the radio, but I'm going to ask you to name the 10 winningest college football programs in bowl games. What 10 FBS programs have won more bowl games than everybody else? You guys ready?
More bowl games?
Most wins all time, from number 1 to number 10.
All right, and this is not just Division I. This could be...
This is FBS. This is Division I. This is FBS. Bowl games, all time.
All right, let's go.
So Weber State's not eligible here, so you don't have to worry about that. They're not on the list. Okay.
They were going to be my first guess.
Excited about what Weber State's doing, by the way. Coach Kerr's got a good thing going there. Some great assistant staff hires and talent. All right, let's go. Start the counter. When you're ready, go.
Miami, Texas.
No Miami.
Notre Dame.
Texas is a ding. Notre Dame.
Georgia.
No.
Alabama. Utah.
Georgia, ding. Alabama, ding. Utah, no.
UCLA. USC.
USC, ding.
Michigan.
No.
Ohio State.
Ding.
Let's go Tennessee.
Ding.
What about Illinois, Texas A&M?
No, did both of those.
Oklahoma.
Ding.
Oklahoma's
you got
on
it.
there.
Yep.
Oregon.
No Oregon. They were bad forever. People forget.
Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers did not make the top 10. These are doing pretty good. Annapolis isn't helping you out much.
What about Rutgers?
No Rutgers.
Maryland.
Rutgers sucks. Maryland too.
No, not North
These are all
Carolina.
blue bloods, so
yeah,
it wasn't a tough
one. Oh,
list.
they're all blue bloods? I didn't say Florida State?
Oh, it was after the buzzer.
I should get a mulligan because Annapolis was quiet.
We're gonna go to the booth. We're gonna go to the booth. The replay says no good. No good. It was after the buzzer. Florida State actually comes in at number 10. So I'll read them from 10 to 1. Now, barely missing the cut. You'd never guess who barely misses the cut. It is a SEC team, but not one of the most successful. I didn't even realize they'd been to this many bowl games, but it's Ole Miss with 28 wins at number 11, just edging Nebraska and Clemson, which are tied for 11th. So Nebraska and Clemson not in the top 10, which may surprise a lot of people. So Florida State is 10th all-time in bowl wins with 29. Their bowl record is 29-18-2. Yes, 2 ties in bowl games. Glad we don't do that anymore. Number 9, Ohio State, whose bowl record is 500. 30-30.
500?
Ohio State's bowl record
you're telling
is
me
500.
The 9th and the 10th is that big of a difference?
No, they're like their record's 30-30. Like, they've won half their bowl games.
They're 500. I thought you said 500 wins.
So Ohio State, historically.
Is that possible?
Ohio
500
State,
years?
no, 30 wins, 30 losses.
Okay, 30 and 30. Okay, okay.
Ohio State, historically.
My bad.
Mid in bowl games. They've won 30. They've lost 30. So the other teams on this list all have winning records in bowl games. LSU comes in at number 8. They have a 55% win percentage, 31, 25, and 1. Tennessee, number 7. Oklahoma, also with 31 wins. So Oklahoma, Tennessee, and LSU, all with 31 wins. But organized by winning percentage, that's how it comes out. LSU's actually on the top of that. So Oklahoma, Tennessee, LSU, all tied with 31. Penn State.
How did I not say Penn State?
Comes in at number 5. I think that was one of the few you missed and didn't mention.
Yeah,
Penn
I didn't
State
mention that.
Has played in 57 bowl games.
Wow.
34, 21, and 2 during that time.
That's a great record.
They have a winning percentage over 600. Texas comes in at number 4, 34, 27, and 2. USC is number 3, 36 and 21 bowl record, which is outstanding. It's one of the highest winning percentages among the Blue Bloods, among those that have played this many bowl games. USC's won a lot of bowl games. Didn't win this year, though, did they? Enjoyed every second of that. Georgia's number 2, 38, 23, and 3 record all time, 64 bowl games played, and coming in at number 1 in both wins and bowl games played, Alabama, 46 wins, 30 losses, 3 ties. They've played in 78 bowl games. They've won 60% of those bowl games, but not this year. Enjoyed every second of that, too.
I got 7.
Can you believe Indiana absolutely crushing their souls?
Oh, my gosh. That was an obliteration.
Wow.
That was an obliteration. And it would rain for 3 days straight in California?
Yeah. Who's beating Indiana?
I don't know. I
never thought in my lifetime I would say this, but I think Indiana's clearly, easily the best team in the country.
The way they beat Ohio State in the
They've already
Big Ten
beat
championship.
Oregon at Autzen.
They beat Oregon already handily.
And then who are you playing in the championship game?
Miami
or Ole Miss? Indiana's going to win a national championship.
How
folks.
about that? In 2 years.
That's a crazy story. Kurt Signetti is
Hey, I win, baby. He got 2 losses in 2 years. That is well done.
Pretty crazy.
Two more wins and he got his natty. How about that?
It's one of the most phenomenal stories. And without a 12-team playoff, without the transfer portal, without NIL and all these things, this wouldn't be possible. So while we talked about a lot of the negative things about the change in college football, this is the positive change. Is a program like Indiana, when you hire the right people and you do the right things, you can become great. Why not BYU? Why not Utah? Indiana did it.
Yeah.
Nobody has excuses anymore.
Right.
Just you don't have to be Alabama.
They did it in a year.
You don't have to be Georgia.
That jump in a year. And look, there's only one SEC team left.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
and the only reason they're left is because they beat an SEC team.
I like that. Cannibalize yourselves like everybody else has done all these years. Love that. I love that narrative more than all the rest. Is that there's only one SEC team that's even possible.
I know. It's been that part of it is fun for me.
And it's not a traditional SEC, Georgia, Alabama.
It's Ole Miss.
Yes.
Who's really never been there before, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So many narratives going on with college football, so many stories, including Indiana and others. And, of course, we want to get a lot into this. You know, Kyle Whittingham of Michigan, the future of BYU and Utah. Pete Fiutak, a friend of the program, will join us next. He covers National League college football for the College Football News. We'll get to hear his takes on all this stuff coming up next on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Salt Lake City and 102.7 KSL FM HD2 Salt Lake City Midvale. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
O'clock hour here. It's the 5 o'clock hour on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And before we head off to a weekend, we've got some breaking news to share with you. More news on the coaching front. Instead of losing coaches, the Utah football staff is keeping one and promoting him. Colton Swan has just been announced as the new defensive coordinator at the University of Utah. He's been the linebackers coach for 7 years, and he will now call the defense under head coach Morgan Scalley for the Utes. Before we get to Pete Fiutak, I wanted to get your take, Sly, on this news. Your thoughts on Colton Swan now as the new defense coordinator at the University of Utah.
It just makes sense, right? If you understand Morgan Scalley, here's the thing. Morgan Scalley his standard is going to be extremely high. He was a defensive coordinator for Utah where his defense is revered, right? Where he has a defense that is top 20 in the country often. Bringing somebody else in has to be able to compete with that first and foremost. You're gonna have, if there's any leniency in this football program, it's gonna be on the offensive side of the ball. As far as like, okay, maybe that's not. As far as defense, that cannot suffer. That has to be at the top of it, is because that is Morgan Scalley, and that's where he's going to hang his hat as far as defense, right? Which is Coach Whittingham. His defense cannot suffer, whether it was Coach Anderson being his DC or whether it's Kalani or Morgan being the DC. All of those guys were within that program, know exactly what's going on, know how to do it. So we have always known that it's probably going to be most likely to be a hire from within. Right? Who's that going to be? Is it going to be Sharif Shaw? Is it going to be Lou Powell, Luther Ellis, or Colton Swan? And then you look at, who would be the best play caller. The way that Morgan Scalley called the defense, who would be the best at doing that, right? Assessing the defense, giving the play call in kind of late, signal calling and all of that. Linebacker coaches are normally the person to do that because linebackers are seen as the QB of the defense. It just made so much sense if you do the X's and O's numbers, if you want to run analytics or whatever, it was going to end up being Colton Swan. And that's it. So it's not surprising. It actually makes a crap ton of sense. Colton Swan has been in this program for a number of years, and Morgan Scalley clearly trusts him. And it's something that I know. As we said, Morgan Scalley's been waiting for this opportunity to be head coach. He knows he cannot call the defense like that and worry about all the other stuff. Who's it going to be? Who's he been training and getting ready to take this over? It's been Colton Swan. And so this is ultimately not a surprising breaking news notion, but it's just great to let it be known. Now you can move forward with everything else in your program.
Colton Swan is the new defensive coordinator at the University of Utah. Some continuity on that Utah coaching staff. All sorts of things going on in college football. The college football playoff. We're on to the semifinals. We got change all over the place. Transfer portal. Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. Utah and BYU dealing with changes. We'll get into it all with Pete Fiutak of College Football News right now on The Cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Cut's brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Give them a call today, your local financial fiduciary. If you need help with anything related to finance and money, go to 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. We're excited to hear from Pete Fiutak of College Football News. He's been writing for college football for a long time, and he joins us often on the program, and I can't wait to get his take on what we just witnessed in the college football playoff. Pete, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Happy New Year. How you guys been?
Busy. We're supposed to be able to enjoy the holidays, Pete, and we have this bomb dropped on us a week ago that Kyle Whittingham's the new coach at Michigan, and it not only impacts Utah, it impacts BYU, and it's been pretty wild here over the last 7 days.
But does it impact you? He's gone. Like, why does it impact you?
Because all the coaches he's taking with him and potentially players.
I guess. But, like, I guess that would matter. But, all right, well, you're Utah. You've got all this money coming in. Don't you just go get new players? I mean, like, it's kind of how it works.
That is how it works, right.
Just go shopping. Go buy yourself some more players. And buy better players than Texas Tech, because if they get Brendan Thorsby, that's kind of a problem. But first of all, it'll be fine. Utah will be just good. Utah's got the things in place, and Michigan's Michigan. You can't compete with that, right. So it's okay, whatever.
Right.
But look, I don't really love this transfer portal. Last year, the quarterbacks in last year's portal were killers. I mean, I don't like anybody, including Sorsby, like I like the guys in last year's portal. I mean, that last year's was just humongous.
Yeah.
This is kind of okay. There's guys. There's no one in this portal like oh my gosh, this guy's gonna get $5 million. This guy's gonna get okay, but you're overpaying because I don't know if he's gonna really
Everybody's overpaying.
But
You're overpaying every year. What guy's worth it right now? None of these quarterbacks have panned out to be worth $4 or $5 million.
Well,
maybe
like
Mendoza.
Derek Mensa with Duke did. I mean, they won an ACC championship. He was pretty good. But like, look, here's the thing. This used to be done underneath the table and to like 17-year-old kids and recruits.
Right.
Now it's just above the board to guys who are
In your
out there already.
face.
So exactly. So nothing really has changed all that much. It just looks a little more, not as much fun. It stinks. If you've grown accustomed to some of these guys on your team and now they're gone, it's not very fun.
Isn't Sorsby to LSU a lock right now? So you say you don't like Sorsby? I actually like Sorsby.
He's fine.
Yeah, but
he's fine.
I'm with Pete because we saw him against BYU and Utah this year, and they made him look. I don't know.
He has a great arm.
He's got some talent. He's mobile.
But
is this a guy that's going to take? Is this like a guy that can have a Mendoza
If
effect?
you're that
Yes,
good,
I
go
think
to
so.
the NFL.
Right.
But here's the why. You can get $4 million in college.
Because if you want to be, I like the Bill Parcells line. If you want to be in the league, be in the league. Like, what are you doing?
Hey, Pete, I do not
go.
argue with you. I'm with you on that because I feel like I'm a little old school on it. But at the same time, these kids are making $3+ million and they don't have to sit. They're getting $3+ million in the air. And guess what? The NFL's not going nowhere. You can still do it.
Well, unless you hurt yourself, like Justin Herbert's making 55. So it's
it's only going to get higher. Trevor Lawrence is making 54, isn't he?
Yeah.
You want to get to that second contract as soon as possible. But yeah, I get it. And actually, that's more of an NBA thing because there literally is a cutoff in the NBA draft where it's like the 13th pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you don't really, because at that point you don't really want to come to the NBA because chances are you're not going to last in terms of history of the NBA draft, so you might as well get your money up. But whatever. So it's who's going to. All these teams are going to get the same. The guys that they're going to want to get. They're going to fill in the gaps, and and then you get a guy like Trinidad Chambliss, who the dude was from D2 Ferris State. I mean, he wasn't Nico Yamalieva. He wasn't one of those superstars in the portal last year. And now he's, a guy balled out yesterday. Now he's got a shot to, get to the national championship.
And give Ole Miss credit for doing that kind of homework instead of just going with the big name that has a great agent. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're benefiting from the homework
Nico
they did
like crap.
on a D2 player. Right? Nico was not. Yeah, it obviously didn't pan out for UCLA. So I still think the teams that do their homework and actually do the work are going to be rewarded more than those that just throw some money at a dude.
I actually kind of disagree. I think Nico's actually awesome. He just has nothing. Had nothing around him. Let's see what he does.
Well, then it's a bad fit, right?
The decision was terrible. But I said he looked terrible.
$4 million ain't no bad fit. But
see,
that's fair.
See, there we go. Why do I need to go to the league if I'm getting $4 million?
This is all show business, son. Who cares how much you fits or not? But I get what you're saying. But in terms of talent, I mean. And look, Lane Kiffin always got 5 different guys, in from the portal and from transfers, and he'd find the one who would fit and go from there. So it's a lot of luck. It's a lot of help. Is it the right guy at the right time? I mean, look, who are the best quarterbacks coming back next year? Probably Julian Sayin. He's, I guess he was a transfer, but okay, but that doesn't really count. He never really played for Alabama. C.J. Carr was homegrown for Notre Dame. He's going to be a superstar next year. So. It's just kind of the way this all works now. And allegedly these guys are supposed to go to class to be college students, but okay.
Yeah, I think we all know better than that. Speaking of entertainment, I thought that this round of games, the quarterfinals were great. A lot of interesting storylines. I don't even know. Let's begin with Texas Tech because as a Big 12 market here, I think we were all pretty stunned and disappointed with how poorly they played especially on offense. Defense was fine. I think the defense gave them a chance, but that offense was putrid. How big of a negative impact can this be on the perception of the Big 12, the way Texas Tech no-showed on offense against Oregon?
It depends on how Oregon does, because remember how these narratives get framed. First of all, the SEC isn't that good. So, everyone's like,
Thank you.
wow, they were like, ooh, the SEC, ooh, look at this team. Well, again, the whole thing, I got in big, giant trouble for dogging the Alabama gauntlet. Well, look at that gauntlet of teams. Every team they played, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, all the way down, they all lost their bowl games. Like, the gauntlet just was a disaster. So it wasn't that great. And I was like, oh, look out for Georgia. Well, Georgia looked great against other SEC teams, looked like hot garbage against Georgia Tech. And now it's like, oh, well, look at Texas Tech. They weren't ready for this yet. Look at the Big 12. Maybe Oregon's really awesome. Look, I think we're sleeping on them because
fair.
Because look, there was Michigan 2 years ago, it was Ohio State last year. I thought it was going to be Penn State this year to start the season, and now everyone's all hot on Indiana. But why is everyone hot on Indiana? Because they beat Alabama, who's just kind of meh, who was awful over the second half of the season, but they played a bunch of SEC teams. So now everyone's overrating Indiana, and maybe, just maybe, Oregon is that team. So if Oregon goes out there, beats Indiana, I think it's going to be Miami, they're the national championship. And also it's like, well, it's not Texas Tech's fault. They just lost the national champion maybe.
That's fair. We build narratives after each and every game when that's probably not very wise. So do you think Oregon getting a second chance against Indiana on a neutral field, do you think they can get it done against Indiana, or is this Indiana team – is this none of us? I mean, this is one of the great stories in college football. If they're able to finish this off, you're right. I agree with you. Everything you said about Alabama, but my goodness, Pete, 38-3. I mean, they absolutely throttled them. Indiana looks like a juggernaut.
At some point, someone's going to wake up and realize that Indiana doesn't have the talent of these other teams. They are so well coached. They do everything right. I mean, man, those receivers, Brewster and those guys run the most precise routes. They don't get penalized. They don't turn the ball over. They make every right angle on every right play. These guys are so well coached. They're so smart. These players are so well disciplined. They just play everything perfect. But like yesterday, the big problem was Alabama's got more talent than Indiana. They ran the ball 17 times. You've got this massive humanity on your offensive front. All those guys are going to play in the NFL. Well, run the ball. Start pounding on these guys. And they ran it like they quit. They just quit running the ball. And so I'm still waiting to see. Like, look, remember what happened last year where Oregon beats Ohio State in the regular season? Rematch in the college football playoff, Ohio State brings it back. Look what happens this year. Oklahoma beats Alabama, flip the script. Georgia beats Ole Miss, flip the script this day. I think Oregon just is a different team now. They've got all the talent. They've got the offensive line. They've got so much speed at every position. They've got the possible number one overall pick in the drafted quarterback. I'm not dogging Indiana. I just kind of think that Oregon is they're due. They're due to rise up and have a great game here.
Yeah, but isn't that the name of the game? To be well coached. Isn't that why we're paying these coaches $2 million a year, right? So I think that's a part of it, a part of talent. Like, I mean, excuse me for bringing up old days, but 2008 Utah playing Alabama, I just thought we had a great game plan. We were well coached, right? Alabama, on paper, had way more talent than us. Barry Switzer said there's not a guy on the Utah roster that would even make the 3-deep for Alabama. But I think being well coached is a part of team organizations, right? Team games, right? And so Indiana being well coached is a part of why they are so far. So talent can only take you so far. That's why I don't agree with this transfer portal stuff and just ramming together 5-star guys and 5-star guy here, 5 guy, and thinking that you have an all-star team. But being well coached is a part of the team. So isn't that the name of the game than just racking together all this ultimate talent? It's who can fit better, right?
Oh, yeah. That Alabama team was also super sad, and then they never lost again after that. But, you're right. I mean, it's part of it. I mean, sometimes it just, whose scheme is right. Like, sometimes, how does a Navy compete with anybody? They don't have anybody who plays at that level. But if you have the right schemes and you write things, do things the right way, like for years, like in Oregon, well, they didn't always have the talent. They ran that, Chip Kelly offense way back in the day that just was a differentiating factor, and sometimes you neutralize the talent. And, yeah, sometimes that works. The difference, though, in the end, to win the national title, you kind of need to have both, because this isn't like college basketball where you just get hot from three. We're never going to see a Tulane or a James Madison go on a run in the college football playoff. It's just not going to happen. Who ends up winning? Well, last year Ohio State had more talent than everyone else. You knew that was coming. Michigan, you didn't see that one was coming. Georgia destroying TCU, that was overdue. But this year you've got four teams, and I'll throw Indiana in there. Indiana, Mendoza could be the number one overall pick. I mean, they've got NFL guys. But, man, like Miami, for example, that team's got some NFL guys. I mean, that Miami-Ohio State game, you could take 10 guys off there and come up with a top 10 in the NFL draft, and you wouldn't be crazy wrong.
Right.
So Indiana's going to have to keep scheming and keep doing everything right. There's no blip. If there's the stray interception, if there starts to have a penalty problem, if all of a sudden something goes the slightest bit wrong, all of a sudden this all changes really fast.
We hammered Alabama in the SEC for good reason, but what in the world was up with Ohio State? Was this team we talked about how great the defense was all year, and Miami just took it to them. Was this Ohio State team not as good as we thought? Were they not battle-tested enough this year? What happened to the Buckeyes?
And if the kid hits the field goal straight in the Big Ten championship, and in that game, Ohio State probably is the undefeated team that everyone's picking.
Right.
I mean, it's just that crazy. I mean, the defense only gave up 13 points to Miami. I mean, they had the weird pick six there that changed everything. But here in both games, the defense, as awesome as it was, like historically great, they didn't come up with the stop it had to have against Indiana. It did not come up with it. There was time left. There was like 5 minutes left on the clock, and that NFL offensive line for Miami just pounded away. But you can't blame the defense for this. Anytime you have a head coach who starts calling his own plays, be it Dan Campbell with the Lions or Ryan Day with Ohio State, things kind of tend to go a little bit wrong. And they didn't have it in the first half, and then all of a sudden they realized, all right, let's just keep this to the basics. All of a sudden Julian Sain started playing well again. They marched down the field. Everything was going just fine. They looked the part again. They just didn't quite have that fire this year. It sounds kind of weak, but last year's team was just crazy. They were fanatical about, oh my God, we have to win this. It's now or never. This team was just clinical, and it worked for most of the year. But all year long, Ryan Day kept saying, well, eventually we're going to, put it into gear, and we're going to step this game. Now we're going to, get this thing going. Well, they just never did, and they got caught in the last two games of the year.
Well, yeah, so let's talk about this, the last two games of this year, right? You got this semifinal, and then we have the national championship, and the matchups are set. Ole Miss, the story. How about the story of Ole Miss and the new coach coming in and this matchup against Miami and how that's going to be in the Fiesta Bowl, man? So, what are your thoughts with the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, and who's going to be our eventual champion?
Ole Miss is probably going to win the national championship just because that's the one team I think can't win this thing. So I don't think they don't have. I mean, look, this is again. They played an SEC team. They played Georgia. It was a nice story. They came up with a great win. They've got so much turmoil with their assistant coaches now having problems because Lane Kiffin wants them at LSU already. Again. If Miami plays like it did in the first two games, it's not going to have a problem with Ole Miss. But this is, look, the narrative writes itself. Miami playing the national championship at home, that would be kind of insane. But this team, they have the NFL talent. They have figured it out. Carson Beck's playing like the star he was supposed to be a couple of years ago. And again, those lines, those pass rushers, they're just crushing all. I mean, crushed Texas A&M. Crushed Ohio State's offense. I think they'll be able to keep Old Trinidad under wraps a little bit here.
Yeah, that pass rush is elite. That's for sure.
Teams of the first round bye now 1-7 in the 12-team playoff. Do you think that's something that's going to get changed this next round?
It might, but first of all, last year you had Boise State and Arizona State as 3-4. So better teams won those games. So it wasn't like it was the time off. It was that Ohio State was better than Oregon. It was that Penn State was better than Boise State. This year, I don't. Indiana looks just fine, and plus I think Miami was just as good or better than Ohio State, and certainly, Oregon was the better team than Texas Tech, and you can't blame the time off for Georgia's loss. That was pretty dead even after the first thing. So I think it's just sort of a quirky thing that happened. In general, I know how coaches are, and they like the thought of they want to keep things going and continuity. I kind of am the bigger fan. Well, you figure that one out because the one thing you can't afford is an injury. And if you don't have to play and you get time off to get your guys all healed up and ready to go, that's probably the net positive compared to having to play an extra game.
Real quick, your take on Kyle Whittingham being hired by Michigan. We'd love to get your outside perspective on that.
I mean, it sounds great. It's Michigan, so they're going to have talent there, and they're going to run the ball well. If you can get the guys there and run the Kyle Whittingham style with defense and, great line play and running and, pound away and do all the things he did at Utah over the years, when Utah was rocking, then, yeah, absolutely. But, this year was good. They didn't win the Big 12 title, and it was kind of a struggle for years before that. And, that part of it was getting the quarterback situation right, so he's got to get that in place. So, yeah, it should be interesting. He's an interesting hire. I'm not sold that this is all of a sudden going to make them better than Ohio State and Oregon and even maybe Penn State under Matt Campbell and USC with what they got with their recruiting class going forward. But all right, you can't really dog the hire because Whittingham's a made man, a Hall of Famer, and let's see what this guy can do if he's rejuvenated and can put this all together. But there's where the transfer portal has to kick in because it's not like there's a 5-year program here. He's coming in to tweak. There's no rebuild happening under Whittingham.
There's still plenty of players in that cupboard. Yeah, he should have plenty of talent to work with. Pete Fiutak, college football writer for College Football News. Pete, always a pleasure. Thanks so much. We'll have to catch up with you after these semifinal games are played to get your take on that.
Absolutely. Have a great one, guys.
Happy New Year, Pete.
That's good. Yeah, this is so crazy. There's so many thoughts around everything, man. This is an ever-moving thing, and what we say now can change here in March because of what happens. And it's definitely for the controversy. Maybe that was the goal of the NCAA. Let's just do nothing and just see how chaotic we can actually be.
We like watching chaos.
Hey,
all of you out there, while you're driving home from work right now, what happens when there's an accident on the freeway?
Everybody's noodle-necking.
Everybody looks.
Everybody's noodle-necking.
Everybody watches.
Even Alex.
So what are we doing with college football right now? Do we love everything about it? Is it perfect? Are there some issues that need to be addressed? Sure. But are the games fun? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The college football play, I mean, I was critical of the field that was picked, and you know what? Miami shut me up. They went out and won the games. That's all that matters. So they've won 2 games now.
Who's to say BYU couldn't have done that, though?
Exactly, which is why we need to get Notre Dame's got a – but, I don't like the way that Notre Dame reacted. But
right.
And Pete would have come on here and told you that Notre Dame probably would have been in the semifinals had they been in as well. They probably would have done the same thing that Miami's did. Why? Because Notre Dame did that last year.
Right. All the way to
they were just on the other side of this. They barely made it in last year, and they went on a run to the national championship game. The solution to that is the 16-team college football playoff. And I think that's probably the sweet spot where you get to 16, you're like, are we really missing a national championship contender if you get 16 teams in? And this was an odd year where you had the 2 group of 5s get in because the ACC couldn't get their act together. So I think 16 teams solves a lot of problems and eliminates the possibility of missing a team that could go on a run like that because Miami's proven that they belong. And
so who's the 4 teams that would have been in it?
Who else would have been in? Well, Notre Dame and BYU. And would it have been Vanderbilt and Utah? Yeah. So Utah fans, you probably would have snuck in this year.
You would have had a shot against JMU.
Hey, that Utah team full go against one of these teams, I would have rather have watched that than Tulane getting a shot. That was a dud. JMU actually fought and did. JMU did a lot of good things against Oregon,
right?
But Tulane, but that's why you play the games and give Miami credit. Eating crow on that one today.
Oh, for
Miami proved that they belonged. Indiana doing what they're doing is incredible. I am not at all feeling bad for the SEC. I love watching that thing burn.
Yes.
And I think everybody's tired of the SEC thinking they're the best, and they're no longer.
This self-proclaimed.
I don't think, Pete's right. This is the third straight year you're going to have a team outside of the SEC win a national championship.
Because of good playoffs, right? There's good. You actually have to play the games. It's because SEC's been on the tip of Alabama and Georgia's in a championship, so you'll have always a title, a person holding the title, and so they can always say, well, an SEC guy won. Duh, when you play yourselves.
Right. It just means more. Okay. It's all rigged.
Football is football, baby.
It's not rigged anymore, Alabama and Georgia and everybody else. You're going to have to beat some of these teams. They got a lot more money and resources than you. It's a new world. So I think it's fun, and I love the fact that we're having Indiana and Oregon, one of the others probably winning the national championship, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the other playoffs, the NFL playoffs just around the corner. Who's going to be in what position? We're going to learn a lot more after Saturday. Can't wait for this slate. We're going to break it all down. The final week of the NFL regular season next in the NFL Blitz on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Sly Sylvester in for Alex Kirry today. And it's getting to be that time in the NFL where it's just tough to top the NFL postseason. I love it.
Especially not with intro music like this.
Oh, doesn't it? Oh, yeah.
Brings back memories. Everybody's playing video games in the hallway, and I'm just watching NFL films. In the living room, I got the control of the TV.
Nice.
Just jamming out.
Football nerd, and he's not ashamed to admit it.
Oh, yeah.
The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Super Bowl I.
Vince Lombardi.
Legend. But, yeah, man, this is nobody tops the NFL. This is great. This is where everybody, as far as football, is aspiring to. Best news on the planet.
So let's get into this week. It's week 18. There are 2 division titles up for grabs, and along with it, 2 playoff spots. And as far as the seeding goes, it is wide open. So Saturday, the Bucs host the Panthers at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and then after that, the Seahawks and 49ers for not just the NFC West Championship, but for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. How is it that the NFL does this every year? Can you beat that for drama? The last game of the season pits the 2 teams that can win the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they're facing each other, and it's for a division title. And it's in the stadium. It's going to host the Super Bowl. The storylines, the narratives, the drama. I love it. So, Sly, as you look at the Saturday slate, we'll get into some other key games, but I want to start with Saturday because then everything else will fall into place. Your thoughts on those 2 games? Who do you see coming away with the victories?
I just still in shock that the Panthers are even in it, let alone top of the division, and it's win it or lose it, right? It's totally in your control. The Panthers being in that scenario and not needing any help to make this happen, they just have to do what they have to do and make it happen is wild. It's wild, but I think the Buccaneers are starting to get healthy, and their playmakers. Mike Evans is back, and Baker Mayfield it's Baker time. It's playoff time. It's veteran time, man. 3,500 yards on the season. I got to give the edge to the Buccaneers, but man, am I happy to see the Panthers back in the mix and not just that losing franchise that you're just talking negatively about all the time. So absolutely love that. But I got the Buccaneers in this one. But on Saturday, it's going to be crazy. The way the Niners played last week, man, you cannot miss that. You'd be like, these guys were in the Super Bowl last year. They are willing to literally be primed to do anything. Hate that Fred Warner's not there, so I got to go with the Seahawks in this one. I got the Seahawks lining this one up and taking it.
Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold going 14-3.
How about that?
He did this at Minnesota last year, and they just let him go. And then he goes to Seattle. He does it again. I think he joins this elite group of quarterbacks who have ever won 13 or more games with multiple franchises. Peyton Manning's in that group. I mean, it's just, does he get any due? Does he get enough respect for what he's been able to do as a quarterback in this league? Are we finally going to say Sam Darnold's elite? Can we say that now comfortably?
Nobody's going to. Keep hating. He's putting together his resume that you can't refute.
Yeah. And how about the 49ers?
Yeah.
They could win the number 1 seed.
How do they
NFC
only have 4 losses?
After all the losses, all the players that they lost this year.
All the memes.
Brock Purdy only played half the season.
All the handicap memes that they've had all year
Right.
from their injuries, and they only have 4 losses. That's what the value of a good backup quarterback is.
It's the value of a great coach. And I think you got to give Shanahan his due.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that, those waters? And they've won 6 in a row.
Right.
It's a great story. Both teams are a great story. Only one of them can win that number 1 seed. It's the difference between being the number 1 seed or the number 5 seed, which is massive. So there's a lot on the line tomorrow night. And back to the Bucks and Panthers. The Bucks are 7-9 right now. They are 2-8 in their last 10. What has happened to that team? They've lost 4 in a row. This should have been over a month ago. There was a point. They were 5-1. There was a point where I thought they were the best team in the NFC. When they were 5-1, you're looking at the Bucks, you're like, this might be the best team in the NFC.
The squeaking out those wins in those first 4 games,
2-8 in their last 10. Here's the funny scenario: they could beat the Panthers on Saturday afternoon, and by the end of Sunday, still be out of the playoffs. Because if the Falcons also win, the Bucks are out on a tiebreaker, and the Panthers go to the playoffs. Because the Panthers, Falcons, and Bucks would all be at 8-9. Talk about mediocrity. That division sucks. But somebody's got to win it.
Always has been, too.
And the funny thing is, whoever wins that division is hosting a playoff game. Here's the bad news for the Panthers. They're probably hosting the loser of that Seattle-San Francisco game. Good luck. Good luck to you. You don't think Christian McCaffrey would be highly motivated for that game against his old team?
Is that Panthers? Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah. How about that?
I think the Bucks, I don't know what to think. I really don't. Because the Panthers could have clinched this last week, and they didn't really show up either. I wasn't impressed with them either. So,
right.
I mean, somebody's got to win it. But that 49ers-Seahawks game, I'm all over that. I'm going to watch every second of that game. Broncos-Chargers doesn't have the impact we thought it would. The Chargers, basically, they're basically conceding they're going to be the 7 seed. They're not going to start Justin Herbert. He's not going to play. They want to get him healed up for the playoffs, but if the Chargers lose that game to the Broncos, they're likely the 7 seed. They cannot win that division anymore, so that game lost a lot of its luster. You look around the Sunday slate, and we've got to get to Ravens-Steelers. That is the game on KSL and NBC Sunday Night Football on Sunday night. Sly, I don't think you could script it any better.
Oh, no.
Steelers,
for
Ravens.
The division,
for the division.
Playoffs,
for the playoffs.
For everything on the line. Harbaugh, Tomlin, TJ Watt coming back with a collapsed lung. Lamar's healthy. Lamar's playing.
Lamar is playing. Is he ever healthy?
Aaron Rodgers.
No. Is this Aaron Rodgers' last game if they lose?
Hold on. Is DK Metcalf done with his suspension?
He's suspended. It's 2 games.
One more?
He's not playing.
He's got one more?
That really, really hurt the Steelers last week.
Jalen Warren. Oh, yeah, they did. Jalen Warren couldn't make some things happen because this is just a tough battle. This is what you want. This is how you end the season with this game right here. I've been in it. I know the type of energy behind it. This is something where you want to end the game. And just all the stipulations on the line is just so amazing. And so really, really, really looking forward to seeing how this one ends.
Would the Ravens be better off starting Tyler Huntley?
The way Lamar Jackson has played, absolutely. I would say yes. Tyler Huntley is throwing for 120 yards a game and playing way better than Lamar Jackson, who's $300 million in.
And I think it has allowed them to really focus on getting the ball to Derrick Henry, who, by the way, felt like he had a quiet season because he didn't push for 2,000 yards this year. He did rush for 1,469 yards and 16 touchdowns.
That's great.
Derrick Henry had a quiet year with 1,469 yards rushing and 16 touchdowns.
Last week's effort definitely helped out too.
He was awesome. If I'm the Ravens, I'm like running. I'm running behind Derrick Henry, and I'm running into the playoffs. I'm worried that Lamar Jackson and coming back. I think that's exactly what the Steelers want to see in this game. But Sly, I have a hard time picking your Steelers because who's Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to?
But that's the thing. When you got elite quarterback play, it shouldn't matter, right? You shouldn't need your number one receiver. You got tons of others.
But is Aaron Rodgers still elite?
That is the question.
This is a big moment. This is a big moment for Aaron Rodgers.
I think he can still lead the charge, but for me, it's a lot of different things, right? And I know you missed your DK Metcalf, but I love when they go to their 3 tight end set with Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth, and I'm forgetting who the other tight end is, Jonnu Smith. But like, you got your Calvin Austins who can come up with a game or two, or even Scotty Miller. I loved when he was with Tom Brady and the things that he was able to do. But this Roman Wilson, the guy from Michigan, I think that he's a guy who could be a game breaker, right? He's doesn't do it often, but he's a guy who can step up in the moment, and these are moments. And honestly, if I can be totally honest, these games don't ever go like that to where a number one receiver is necessary.
That's fair.
These games never go like that. But a running game is
black and blue. You're right.
A running game, black and blue is exactly how it is. A running game is. So now you got Jaylen Warren and Kevin Gainwell versus Derrick Henry.
Fair.
Right? That's how these games go. And so, and then, of course, who can make a play at the end? Is the veteran quarterback in Aaron Rodgers going to make it happen against whoever the Ravens quarterback is going to be?
So Lamar Jackson back for the Ravens. TJ Watt back for the Steelers after that punctured lung situation. This is going to be an interesting game because I think the fallout for the loser is going to be enormous.
Oh.
The winner will basically say, hey, we got up in the playoffs.
It's going to be heads are rolling hot seat stuff.
Can you imagine Tomlin or Harbaugh not being there next year? Right. I think that could be the fallout from this game to the loser. This game is massive. I don't think there's been a more massive Week 18 game in this league that could impact two of the highest notable franchises in this league when it comes to head coaches, when it comes to their quarterbacks. This game has massive implications, not just for the playoffs, but for the future of both of those franchises. Can't wait to watch all the drama on Saturday and Sunday. Week 18 of the NFL will not disappoint. And then we're going to get into the playoffs, and it's going to get even better. The NFL is king, and we are going to be watching. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this with the best and worst next on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Welcome back. Best and Worst is brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships, Dodge, Ram, Chevrolet, Subaru, Kia in Linden, and now Mitsubishi in American Fork. Before we get to the break here, we wanted to play a cut from Gary Anderson, who appeared on Hanson Scotty today and announced that he's staying at BYU, but he also dropped a little nugget that we want to play. Let's just play it first, and then I want to get Sly's reaction to it.
We do have one problem, Coach, and that is Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham leaves for Michigan. He takes a lot of Utah personnel, and those guys know that Utah is a hotbed for recruiting. So what do we got to do to stabilize this state and make sure Michigan doesn't come sneaking in along with everybody else that knows now that this talent is great? Because, Coach, this state is a hotbed for some of the best football talent in the country.
Cat's out of the bag now.
The cat's out of the bag, and they're taking that knowledge with them.
Yeah, well, maybe we should blame Utah for pissing Kyle off. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know.
Would have never happened.
So it might not have happened. He might have just gone over and, played a little tennis or pickleball and rode his motorcycle and skied. But I texted him yesterday and I told him, I can't wait till they go tell you, hey, let's go skiing today, and you're going to go see that molehill out there in the middle of Michigan. That's not even a bunny hill here. So have fun with that.
Take you out to Lake Huron.
Yeah. But no, without a doubt. I mean, there's some opportunities out there. And Utah's there's great high school coaches here. Just watch it. I mean, the high school programs have gotten better and better and better. The off-season training programs are better. So there's going to be high-level kids that are out there playing. There's some great athletes. So you got to continually fight through it. You got to I really don't believe this. I don't think Michigan's going to walk in here and take 3 or 4 kids a year from the state of Utah. I don't think that they need to. I think they need to stay in their own state, in their own area. And, I thought that when I was at Wisconsin, I was like, we're going to come in and take, 5 or 6 kids a year. But we kind of had the same kids in our own backyard because there's really good high school football at Wisconsin too. So sure, there'll probably be some fights every year, just like there is and I'm sure it's going to be the same guys. It might be Wisconsin. It might be Michigan now, and it'll probably be Oregon and Utah and BYU and whoever else wants to get in that fight. Right? That's just the way it is. So BYU is well equipped to get into those recruiting fights and battles and show kids what the school is. And it's not just about the dollar figure. It's about an education. It's about the culture, the family you're in. And I think that they'll always be in the hunt to land those elite recruits and then continue to grab kids that are in that developmental stage that we can grow and get them on the field.
All right, Sly, 2 things I want you to react to. Number 1, this comment that they shouldn't have pissed Kyle off up at Utah. You think he's just joking around, or you think there's actually some truth to that?
Oh, man, this is what my wife told me when we first started dating. Behind every joke, it's a little bit of truth.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's how I take that. One, he's speaking truth, right? It's like when you're going to an area, how important is it to recruit locally, right? And so I think there's going to be a lot of local Michigan talent, but at the end of the day, Kyle's going to go with what he knows. Just like he got this coaching staff over there. The coaches that he brought to him have recruiting footprints in certain places. So just because they're wearing a different logo on their polo does not mean that they're not going to take those same relationships with those high school coaching staffs and with those players that have seen them before and get those to those new destinations, right? And so what they're going to preach is kind of culture, and this is what we want to do. We want to win. They're going to preach Signetti, right?
Yeah.
I win, right?
Yeah.
I put great football players together. I put guys into the NFL. I develop guys. I make sure you get the best out of what we're going to get, and we're going to compete, and we're going to be at the highest stage doing it. And with the name Michigan, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in every conversation that there is. Right. And so with Utah pissing Kyle off, I don't know exactly what happened because I thought exactly what he said. I thought that Kyle's going to sail off the sunset and play a little pickleball, ride his motorcycle. But that is not true. The guy's the heart of a competitor. He said he didn't want to be Lavelle or any of these guys or his dad to coach for the rest of his life. But look at him. He's 66 and he's still pushing. He loves this stuff. I was interviewing him after games. He come in before we talk. He's like, man, I love this coaching stuff. I'm like, man, what are you going to do? What is it? What do you want to do? And so I understand business is business. It is what it is. But this is just a situation and everybody's got to deal with it, whatever it is. As he said there, which I really liked as a competitor, he said BYU is equipped to get into these recruiting fights. We know the conversation that we need to have. So if you're a fan or you're the University of Utah or whatever, just be prepared to get in these recruiting fights with Kyle Whittingham. Simple as that.
What about the grandkids, Kyle?
Hey, man.
I thought you were going to go hang out with the grandkids.
Hey, grandkids don't listen, no way. All I got is candy for you. You can come into my Michigan office. I got tons of candy, and everybody else can get it, man. So grandkids will be there.
Kyle Whittingham was going to hang out with the grandkids. He was going to play pickleball. Everything would be fine.
What's better?
No changes going to happen.
What's better if I can go to kindergarten?
All these players would still be at Utah and BYU, not in the portal, but somebody up at the Hill had to piss off Kyle. Who is it? Who did it?
What's better to say that I'm going to kindergarten and say my grandpa is the head coach at Michigan? Who else can say that? What's a better show off than that? My grandpa is the head coach and he's going to Natty's or in the CFP or whatever. That's the narrative of show and tell that I'm bringing into every week.
I'm telling you, Utah and
that.
BYU better keep Michigan out of here because you know they're going to push.
Hey,
like Gary said, you're not going to get a lot, but if they get 2 or 3 out of here every year,
that's what's going to happen.
Oh boy,
right?
Oh boy. Well, that's the fun of it. Going to be a lot of battles ahead, but I want to know who pissed off Kyle. I think we all want to know who pissed him off because look what happened. It's your fault.
Hey, Joe Glenn knows what happens when you piss Kyle Whittingham off.
It was the third quarter. It was the third quarter.
Still play the game. The game's not over from what I'm saying.
Slide's been fun. Thanks. We got to go to a break. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.